Blackline Brief starts now.
What is up, everybody? Happy, oh my gosh, today was a crazy day. Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday in the house. I didn't have tacos. Did anyone in the chat have tacos today? Or are you gonna have tacos today? It's Taco Tuesday. I had rice and sausage and bell pepper. That's what I had. Oh my goodness, what a day. What a day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just getting everything situated. First day on with this setup without my brother-in-law here, running things as a technically challenged individual. My brother-in-law is so gifted with all this, and it was such like a blessing to have him here. And then so by the way, if you've noticed, you're like, Matt, one day you were like really clear and crisp. And then the next day you were like red. And then the next day you were like clear. And now I don't know. How do I look? Oh, I look good today. All right. I look tan. I could see it on that monitor. This monitor lies to me. My front facing monitor is a liar. It's a liar. But anyway, so having to adapt with the camera, trying to get it all situated on my own. My wife helped me. She's probably going to become more technically advanced than me. I might have to just evolve. Don't we all? Well, all right, enough about that. Welcome in. Welcome to another episode of the Blackline Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim, and today I have a big show for all of you. I hope that you've brought your popcorn. I hope you're comfortable. We're going to be here, but we're going to have fun. I think what we need to start out with is the bombshell new evidence that Candace Owens released today on her show, because we're going to look at some things in regard to that. We can't let people get away with lying. We can't let grifters and liars and deceivers who claim to be Christians, who claim to be journalists with a journalistic integrity, to get away with it. Who am I speaking about? Benny freaking Johnson. Also, Donald freaking Trump. I know he's not a journalist, but I have his words that we're going to look at. All right. Just days after the assassination, talking about this video. We're going to look at Benny Johnson on that Friday, that last day of the preliminary hearing, where Jack Posobiec, Brandon Tatum, Benny Johnson, well, Andrew Kolvet and Blake, they threw their hat in the ring as well. They weren't there, but they sure did throw their hat in the ring. Telling us, you can see him pull the trigger. You can see the muzzle flash. You can see the recoil, ladies and gentlemen. You can see Tyler Robinson kill Charlie Kirk. It was so damning that Erika broke down. Erika watched the moment that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and supposedly broke down in the arms of Charlie's mother and father, and that they were sobbing too. All of that's a lie. It is completely made up stories. I don't even think that Erika Kirk and Charlie Kirk's parents are on the same team. I don't. Because if this video doesn't show what all those people said it shows, then there's no reason for Erika Kirk to cry the way that they said she did, which means there's no reason for Charlie's mom to console Erika and cry together as the story they told us. So all that's a lie. They've been lying to us since day one. And they want to know, do you have the memory of a goldfish? I don't. Not me and not this audience. We keep track. We're coming for all of you. That's what we're doing here. We're coming for all of you. Accountability. That's what I mean. We're not hunting anyone down. Don't call anyone. Don't bother anyone. I don't even like attack people in the tweet section or the comment section of their videos. We will come after them with truth. As Candace Owens says, I sentence them to more truth. And that's what we're going to do. Ooh, I was a little far away from the camera, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. So let's take us back to just a couple hours ago when Candace Owens, with her decentralized investigative system agency, right? The sleuths, and someone gave her this video. I wonder who. I believe this video is the exact same one that they showed in court because it's the best quality that we've ever seen, and it is junk. Garbage. You can't tell who it is. You can't see anything definitive except for a person in black clothing running, and then like a military low side crawl, lies down. Then he unfolds something, but that's not how the fold AR unfolds. It doesn't I don't know what that was. Sure as heck wasn't Grandpappy's Mauser. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you this. He didn't have anything in his pants. He didn't stop to take it out. They've been lying on all the court documents, and even in the different hearings that led up to the preliminary hearing, they've been lying to us all along. One of the court documents said, after climbing over the railing on the Losi Center roof, the alleged Tyler Robinson runs over to that building that's on top of the Losi Center with the glass all the way around, that he's outside of the frame for 8 minutes. That's where they say he changes clothes, assembles the rifle, and runs out, then low crawls into position. Then when we see this video, whether it's when they showed us a really bad version of it in court, and he's like, this big. All dude does, Mr. Eagle Boy, not Tyler Robinson, climbs over railing, books it. What? He's got a Mauser in his pants. How did he get over the railing? Why can't we see him pull it out of his pants? I agree with Candace Owens. Did he pull it out the bottom, like out by the ankles? No. Did he pull it straight out the hip? No. Where did it come from? He's a freaking magician. He pulled it out of his hat. He climbs the railing, looks around, and then runs towards that corner, pauses, low crawls sideways, right? Military side low crawl, one knee on the ground, 1 foot up, hand on the ground, other hand carrying something, gets out to a close position, then low crawls out to the corner. And then he takes a nap. Eagle Boy was tired. He was tired running around Orem that day, getting caught on all the different security camera footage, pretending to be Tyler Robinson. He had worked up, well, no, I was going to say appetite. Tyler was eating the food, right? Eagle Boy was tired. He took a nap. He laid down. He laid down for a minute or so. We see no gun. We see no muzzle flash, no recoil, nothing. And in fact, when he gets up, you do not see a rifle in hand. That's where you would see it, ladies and gentlemen. You would see him pick it up from the ground as he turns to run. Do you see that? No. You see like a jacket or a towel. He gets up so fast. When did he take apart the rifle? Well, they've changed their story. No. The rifle was disassembled in his pants. He assembled it on the roof. No, he didn't. We see the footage. Okay, well then why is the screwdriver there? Okay, he disassembled it on the roof after the shooting, but then how did he reassemble it in the woods and leave it there for Freya to miss it, the bomb-sniffing dog? Screwdriver on the roof, footage that we now see before and after. There's no moment where he assembles or disassembles the rifle. Make that make sense. And in fact, you don't even see a rifle. You see nothing but a towel or a jacket. In my opinion, that Mauser was laid over there in those woods long before that day began. If you're going to place a gun in the woods to frame someone, you might want to do it in the dead of night. You might want to do it the night before when everyone is sleeping. That's when the rifle was planted there, in my opinion. It's the only thing that makes sense because we don't see it on the roof before or after his little nap on the corner of the roof. None of it makes sense. Let's freaking go, ladies and gentlemen. I was born for this. Today's going to be a good day. I have great footage for you. We are going to look at these people and unmask them for what they truly are. Freaking evil liars. None of them friends with Charlie Kirk. None of them care about Charlie Kirk. None of them love Charlie Kirk. You can't get up there day in and day out and lie about Tyler Robinson being guilty when we find out piecemeal that there's literally goose egg evidence on Tyler Robinson. And I forget who it was that just released text messages between, I think it's Diligent maybe, between himself and the grandmother. Hopefully it can be validated and verified that those are real, but that the grandmother of Tyler Robinson said they don't, and Tyler's parents don't believe Tyler did this. Neither do we. Neither do we. All right, here we go to the queen herself, Candace Owens. Let's go.
Crawl. It's actually known in the military as a lateral crawl. Let's watch that.
It is. It's 100% is. And then here's this
There
flash.
he goes.
What is that?
And I actually do want to show you side by side so you can actually see a real military man do that.
Yep.
Alongside this person on the rooftop. Let's bring in that side by side clip. Here we go. That general action right there is known as a lateral crawl.
Yep.
Now, you may have noted, if you're just looking at your eyes, some sort of a flash that just took place.
Yep.
Right? We're going to show you that slowed down.
Don't know what it was.
And just kind of discuss this. We've gone back and forth here. What is that? Is he pulling something out? Is it like a signal mirror?
Huh.
Is it a flag? Was it already on Losey Center? Is it actually something that's in the background that's just catching weird? Is it a car? And we're just thinking that we see this flash, but we're just going to show you that so that it's clear. Back and forth flash there while he's military crawling. Here we go. There, and we're running that back and forth there. Okay, so you now have that. Next up, what you are going to see is that it's going to look as though, as he gets into position and completes this lateral crawl, that he thrusts something forward in a way that my brain told me it looked like he was unfolding a gun.
I don't know that it's a gun, right? I don't, from what even Corby Hall, who is the Fold AR owner, the CEO, CFO, whatever, he's the one that created the Fold AR. He's the one that, developed it and everything. He did a post. Let me pull it up. About the Fold AR. Here we go. He said, announcement. No, I do not know if that was a Fold AR on the roof with Mr. Scoochies. Mr. Scoochies. However, if the Fold AR was on the roof, then I do know who orchestrated this whole thing. No more guessing or assumptions required. Bet, Corby. Let's go. Have you guys seen the side-by-side freaking pictures of Victor Marx and Erika Kirk. I mean, if they aren't a spitting image of one another, holy smokes. Let's see. Let me see if I can get it up. Let's see. Did somebody send it to me? I think somebody sent it to me. I just don't know where it will be. Yeah, it's probably in my messages. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not scrolling through all this for all you guys to see my messages. The private messages. Hold on. Maybe Corby sent it to me. We shall see. Corby. No. Somebody did. Maybe Crystal Smolin sent it to me. Let's see. Or was it? Man. All right. I can't do this. I Googled it. Maybe one of my mods can send me that side by side of Erika Kirk and Victor Marx, and I can pull it up later. But let's get back here. All right. Oh, this is what I was going to say. I don't know. I can't pull up the full AR on here. It's alive. You can't really show guns. But the thing on the roof is going to unfold like this. And I don't know, the way he flops it out, it seems to like lay flat, like on the ground. I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out. It doesn't seem like the full AR to me, but we'll see.
Truly, that's what my brain told me. Maybe it's because I had this guy and told me about a full AR. I don't know, but it's not definitive.
Maybe.
That's me narrating. I'm happy for people to disagree and debate what is seen. But let's just watch that portion here.
Let me make it big for you guys. You guys tell me if you think this is the full AR.
Something forward.
Oh, wait, hold on.
That again.
Hold on.
Something.
Hold on. Let me get me out of there. How can I do it to let you guys see? Let's see if I go like this, and then I'm just going to make this one big, and I'm going to take myself away. All right. Yes. All right. So that nobody takes my footage. All right. Here we go. She'll replay it.
Again. But more importantly than what we see here is what we're not going to see here. So remember, this is supposed to be a German 98 Mauser family heirloom gun used during World War I and World War II. That'll effectively take your shoulder out when it's fired.
I don't know.
Even the newer models.
I got to take that off there until she's done showing the gun.
You're like, oh, my shoulder.
Hold on.
And if you're looking through a scope, as he allegedly was, you might even expect a black eye. You will recall
maybe
that the guy who recorded the footage specifically told us that he saw no recoil. That's pretty crucial.
That's true.
He just saw the guy get up and run. And that would be, I would argue, or a lawyer in court, that would be impossible for this specific make and model of gun.
Yep.
So let's watch and see if we, with our eyes, can observe some sort of a kickback. And again, I have to apologize. This is not like Benny Johnson 4K footage, but it's at least clear enough here on your screen that you would be able to discern a strong kickback on a gun from somebody who's just laying down, taking a shot. So I'm going to let this run. It's about 50 seconds. And you just let me know if at any point you see that before he gets up and breaks into a sprint.
Bet.
Take a look. There you go. That's that unfolding again. And by the way, if you are listening to this in audio, this is one of these episodes that you actually do have to go watch. So you will have to pivot over to YouTube, to Spotify, somewhere that provides the video, because this is not something that we could just produce on an audio podcast here, unfortunately.
See, this is what I mean. He took a nap.
This is going to run. We did have to obviously zoom in and push out those fed timestamps, but see here, I have 10 more seconds here. Okay, he is up. Anybody?
Nope. Nope.
Anybody see a recoil?
Nope.
I didn't see one,
Negative.
but let's actually put that footage all together uninterrupted.
That would be
Here
great.
we go.
That
for
would
you
be
guys
great
to watch.
Oh, here, I'll make it big for you guys.
He comes running on to the rooftop. What we know definitively is he gets down into what is known as a lateral military crawl. He begins that crawl over to the right first, and then to the left, we see a quick flash. We are not sure what that flash is.
Yeah.
Actually, this looks like, well, I'm not going to read into it. There's that throw forward. I say fold forward. You can say throw forward.
Like
but that's definitely
it unfolds. Yeah.
something being flung forward.
Yep.
Getting into position. And here we wait for what we expect to be some sort of a kickback.
Recoil is what she means. And there is none.
This must have been when our source began recording from the side of a Pelosi building and said, oh, I just saw someone get up there. He's got a gun.
Yeah, in fact.
And he's up. And he's gone. What do you guys think?
Nothing.
I should just jump into this chat and see. Where are my gun experts? What do you guys think? Something feels not right. Something doesn't feel right. That feels to me like what the witness said. That person looks like they've got training.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not giving Tyler Robinson to me. But what do I know? I'm not an expert. Like that
right.
just feels, and then he's gonna jump off of the roof.
All right, now let's go here. Here. If it'll load. All right, hold on.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from
Just laying there.
over, where's my finger? Whoa. From over there, ran in. And now he's right there.
He's taking a nap.
Just saying.
Just saying. Just taking a nap. And then that's the roof footage. All right, now let's go here. All right. We're going to listen in. This was filmed. Let's see what day it is. This is September 12th. All right. Let me see how far we need to go because the real meat and potatoes. Oh, no, it's good right here. All right, let's go for it.
Carly, good morning. Yes, the hunt for Charlie Kirk's killer now stretches into day 2, and investigators are turning to the public for help. The FBI says this newly released video shows the gunman racing across the rooftop and dropping to the ground on the day of the shooting. We're told a palm impression and other smudges were left behind that investigators now hope to use.
We know now by the preliminary hearing. Nope. No evidence from that. No fingerprints, no palm prints, no DNA from the ledge.
To collect DNA. After this quick escape, you can see the person walking through the parking lot. Agents say they found the gun used, a high-powered bolt-action rifle that was dumped in a nearby wooded area. The FBI is now making an urgent plea for the public to help identify this person of interest. The newly released images show the man described as college-age wearing a baseball cap, dark sunglasses, and a black shirt with an eagle and American flag.
That's why I call him Eagle Boy.
The public has answered our call for action.
Oh, yeah.
So far, we've received more than 7,000 leads and tips. I would just note that the FBI hasn't received this many digital media tips from the public since the Boston Marathon bombing.
And then there's this chilling video obtained by TMZ, which appears to show that person of interest walking by several neighborhoods.
This I'm playing is going to give context to what I end up showing. And I'll just tell you right now, this, well, at least Benny and Trump are going to, without having foreknowledge, without being able to see the future, they're honest about the videos on September 12th. I guess they forgot about it 10 months later at the prelim. Who knows? Or they're just liars, deceivers, evil doers the entire time. Let me get through these four real quick. We got 250 joules for the laughing disco. Thank you. Finding peace. 500 joules. Oh, I'm stuttering. Sorry. Deanne Soland, the sun balloon. Thank you for becoming a member, Elizabeth Hurley. Elizabeth, I feel like you've been a member. Well, welcome back. Common Sense Collective for the 30 joules and the flower. And then we have Mimi Hermes became a member today. Ooh, I like that photo, your profile photo. Jesus walking on water with the clouds parting and the dove and the light shining through. I like it. Oh, we just had another one come in. Honey Butter became a member today. Is your dog's name Honey or Butter? He's cute. All right. Thank you for becoming a member today. All right, let's get back to it.
Surveillance cameras. The FBI had previously said its teams had spoken to people who live nearby as the agency tries to zero in on the gunman. President Donald Trump saying yesterday he's confident the country will be given answers soon on who killed the 31-year-old.
Well, I hear they're making big progress, and we'll have to see what happens.
Do you have any indication of the shooter's motivation, sir?
I have an indication, yeah, but well,
Trump on September 12th had an indication as to the motive of the shooter. Remember, Tyler Robinson he asked for a lawyer and remained silent. They hadn't interviewed Lance Twiggs yet. So were they even in possession of those text messages and Discord chats? Only if Tyler and Lance and others in those Discord chats weren't the authors, but the FBI or somebody somewhere helping to create this horrible patsy frame job had already created them. And Trump was read in on it because he had to play a significant part. I'm also going to play something later from today's memorial service of Lindsey Graham, just so you know how dishonest Trump will be about people after they die. So you shouldn't have taken anything he said about Charlie seriously. Okay? Not at all. All right. I told you we got a great show today, guys.
let you know about that later.
At the latest press conference held yesterday evening, officials took no questions, but FBI Director Kash Patel was there, and we were told he has surveyed the crime scene.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Well, that's a flashback. That's what Governor Cox said, right? Was it Governor Cox or was it Kash Patel that came out with Tyler Robinson when Tyler Robinson was apprehended or turned himself in, surrendered peacefully? Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. I'm pretty sure it's Governor Cox. I can hear his little man voice in my ear.
September 2025, and Charlie Kirk's killer has been announced first and live by President Trump in custody. And Donald Trump gave some major details.
Here we go.
And friends, let's go.
All right. So pay attention. Remember, what is it that we're honing in on right now? What is the biggest lie that they've told in the last 3-4 weeks since the preliminary hearing? Well, that video that Candace just showed us today was high def, 4K, so clear. You can see him pull the trigger. You can see the muzzle flash. You can see the recoil. They came out so strong, but they didn't account for 2 or 3 people that were in the courthouse that day that went out to their own platforms and let everyone know they're all lying. They're lying. The video is exactly what we saw it was today when Candace Owen just showed us. They came out so strong, they had to backpedal fast. So that was the strongest they ever spoke about that video. And then over the next 3 weeks, they slowly walked it back to, well, you don't really see him take the shot. You don't really see a muzzle flash. You don't hear anything. There's no audio. You don't see recoil. What you see is the timing. You can see the timestamp in the video. We know when Charlie Kirk was murdered, and it just lines up. He runs out there, lays down, and pauses. And right after the big bang, Eagle Boy gets up and runs. I also have actual lawyers that did a show today, and we're going to listen to them. And boy, for the first time, I've heard some actual honest lawyers and, legal investigators saying all the things out loud that we, the public, us laymen, have been saying and thinking this whole time. We'll get to it. They are losing the information war. They are losing grip of the narrative even more than they already had this entire time. You ever try to hold a handful of sand? The best way to keep as much sand in your hand is to cup it, to hold it like this. The harder you try to hold it tight, the more it just seeps through the fingers. You can say the same thing about snow. That is their grip on this narrative. They're stupid, and they are trying to force this grip on it, and it's just slipping away. With every day that ticks, just like Captain Hook, tick, tock, tick, tock, it is slipping away from them. Let's freaking get him, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to Trump. Listen to what he says on September 12th about the quality of that video.
Yesterday, you were at the 9/11 memorial. We were all watching that.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance was supposed to be with you. He went out to be with Charlie Kirk's family and to get the body back to his hometown in Arizona. And you said you were going to award him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which was very nice of you. Any updates on this suspect?
Yeah. Can I always say, I think, just to protect us all, and so Fox doesn't get sued and we all don't get sued and everything else. But I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody. Right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job. Getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there.
Wait. Did Trump just say they started out with nothing? Basically nothing. All they had was a clip where he looked like an ant. It was basically useless. That's the freaking same video that they're out here telling us is high def 4K. You could see Tyler Robinson. You can see him take the shot. You can see him pull the trigger. Freaking Trump. Don't worry. It gets better. Benny Johnson's going to add his, hat in the ring. Let's hear Trump say that. Uno más.
And so much work has been done over the last 2.5 days. It's amazing, actually, when you start off with that and then all of a sudden you get lucky or talent or whatever it is.
Oh, I didn't go back.
I think
I didn't go back. Hold on. Let's go right there.
And you said you were going to award him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which
That's
is
right.
very nice of you. Any updates on the suspect?
Yeah. Can I always say, I think, just to protect us all, and so Fox doesn't get sued and we all don't get sued and everything else. But I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him.
The only other patsy jobs where they apprehended the suspect faster than Tyler Robinson was JFK, RFK, where they got him quick. RFK, they got the patsy immediately. He was still in the kitchen. What is it? Sirhan. I can never pronounce it right. You know who I'm talking about. Sirhan or Sarhan. They grabbed him. They snatched him up right away while he was still MK Ultra in the eyes. He was like, where am I? He's like, oh my, what the heck is this? What? And they got him. Lee Harvey Oswald, they get him first day. First day they get him. And with what's his name? Crooks, that was the only one where they did it the way they wanted to on paper, right? I don't think they wanted what's his name? Lee Harvey Oswald to survive. They were supposed, I think it was Officer, what's his name? That actually was shot at by Lee Harvey and got away. Not Tatum. Get that out of my head. It's Officer something. And Lee Harvey shot at him and ran away. Gets apprehended in a movie theater. But that they would want to take out the patsy immediately. A dead patsy is a quiet patsy. You can put everything on him. No one's the wiser. That is how things are supposed to go. Okay? Well, this one, it took them 33 hours to get the guy, and they didn't take him out. And look at what's unraveling because they didn't complete the mission. Okay? But Trump would have you believe that within 24 hours, 48, on the 12th, with a high degree of certainty, with as little evidence as they had. We started with nothing, he said. Nothing. We had this grainy, poor quality video where he's as big as an ant, practically useless. And within 48 hours, with a high degree of certainty, they think it's Tyler Robinson. Wow. Seems like you knew what you were doing. Seems like you guys had a plan.
In custody, right? In custody, everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job. Getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there. And so much work has been done over the last 2.5 days. It's amazing, actually, when you start off with that and then all of a sudden you get lucky or talent or whatever it is. But I think we're in great shape.
That's what they call it. Luck or talent. Huh. Not that you had Mossad, CIA, FBI, local law enforcement working hand in hand to help frame Tyler Robinson. I should not have taken down Candace Owens because I forgot I wanted to show the two stars of today's show on Candace's show. Hold up. Hey, we gonna show you. Where they at? Okay, they're talking about the rifle. There's the rifle. Where are the two stars of today's show? Is it after her break? I think it's after her break. She shows the picture. She shows the text. Here we go. Ready, set, go.
Mitchell Curtis of Pleasant Grove Police. 2025 graduate. Very young buck.
Young buck indeed.
Finds this gun in UVU's backyard.
He's the one that found the gun. Freya, the bomb-sniffing dog, $100,000 nose worth of training. A rifle supposedly is used just hours before Then it's wrapped in a towel, put in a box. Well, I think it's just wrapped in the towel. I think the box is their evidence, like the way they carried it into evidence. So remember, they have local police sweep the wooded area near the backyard, near the chicken coop. They find nothing. Then the bomb-sniffing dogs, Freya, and it's another Nordic Viking name. I forget. It's a male one. Loki. Freya and Loki sniff. Nothing. Find nothing. Then the FBI shows up, but they find nothing. I think they had to make sure. So this is what is interesting. Either the rifle was planted the night before and it was so shoved into the bush. If they're just walking around and they're not really like digging in the bushes, they didn't find it. The dog wouldn't either if it hasn't been fired in weeks. The last time it was supposedly fired was weeks and weeks and weeks before, when Tyler and family were practicing to go hunting and fishing together. So the dogs don't find it. FBI shows up. That could also be when the FBI planted it. So it could either have been planted the night before or when the FBI showed up and took over the scene, right? Made sure no one was looking, shoved it in the bush. And then he goes over, the FBI comes over to two local police who literally fresh off the force, this guy being one of them, and say, I know we all looked and the dogs looked and we didn't find it. But let's do our due diligence here. It was Charlie Kirk. Someone needs to do their due diligence. Just go look right over yonder. And then they find it. And it's this guy. Oh, what do you know? His dad worked for NCIS for 21 years. Huh. Interesting.
He deserves a promotion.
He does.
But the most interesting thing about Mitchell Curtis
is
not actually his background. It's his father's. Because I was told his dad's a Fed.
Yes, he
I said,
is.
what?
No way.
No way.
Yes.
What are the chances? And it was really actually challenging to determine who his father was. But by golly, we were able to do it thanks to the help of some sleuths.
Gotta love
his
the
father's name is
sleuths.
Foster Curtis.
Yeah.
Foster lives in Virginia. Foster spent 21 years.
So that's him. Now let's go to the little image where it shows all of the people that were just newly appointed to their positions in the months and weeks just before. Andrew Zegner came from McKinney, Texas, and was appointed as the CEO of Timpanogos Hospital in August of 2025. Judge Tony F. Graff appointed in May 2025, first time on the bench. Kash Patel, Oompa Loompa, appointed in February 2025. Bo Mason, commissioner of the Utah DPS, appointed June 2025. The medical examiner, Dr. Deidre Smith, appointed in July 2024, and now no longer works there. And then we have Foster Curtis, the father of Mitchell Curtis. Foster was appointed on June 2nd, 2025. Mitchell became an officer, graduated May 2025. And then FBI Special Agent Robert Bowles was appointed in September 2nd, 2025. Coincidence? I think not.
And he's in custody.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue to read, please. This is Charlie Kirk's breaking news. President Trump, that was from less than 10 minutes ago, Donald Trump saying that the shooter was in custody. It was a minister who was involved with law enforcement, a good friend, is a top U.S. Marshal, and they took it from there, Trump said, suggesting that the father and the preacher.
This is how bad the fog of war is, kind of thing. But it's not, in my opinion, that's not what this is, right? This is sloppy, lazy, intentionally dishonest propaganda reporting. Okay. They do not call anyone in the LDS church preachers, pastors, ministers. That's not what they call them. Okay. You have bishops, right? You have elders. You don't have preachers, ministers, and what was the other one? Preacher, minister, pastor. That's not what they're called in the LDS church. Okay. And he's going to report lies, because if Tyler admitted guilt, confessed to them, why wasn't any of that presented at the prelim? That would be pretty damning evidence. That would substantiate pretty good probable cause to go to trial. Remember, they would want to present their strongest evidence to ensure that this doesn't get dismissed, thrown out. They want to go to trial. They're not going to hold on to evidence that proves that Tyler did it. We saw the best evidence that the state has. So we will not be seeing any better evidence during the trial unless they concoct it in between now and then. All right. Mary Bay became a member. Thank you so much, Mary Bay. Sensible Musings became a member. Thank you for becoming a member. We have, oh my God, love everything you say, Matt. Thank you, Shannon Brown. Thank you very much. And Nicole Page, thank you for the thumbs up. Oh, we got a couple more thumbs up. We got, here we go. The Roz Rodriguez, 30 joules. Thank you for the flower. And then we have Eternal Truth. Who else here watches Candace's live and every other team Candace live streams and dream about Charlie all night? Thank you for the super chat. I don't know what you're saying. Who else here watches Candace's lives and every other team Candace live streams and dream about Charlie all night? Oh, okay. So like, who here watches Candace's live streams? Guilty. Yes, I do. And I bet a lot of us do. And then any of her other, I think you're saying some of her other live streams, like that she does with team or people that are part of her team. Yes. And then dream about Charlie. Yes. I don't dream often, but when I do, it is very, very vivid. And it stays with me like the whole next day. All right, let's continue. Because Benny Johnson's going to out himself here in a minute.
The pastor of the shooter turned him in. Law enforcement will share more details on the arrest later today at a press conference, of course, that we will cover live in seconds or as soon as it starts. Neither the FBI nor Utah Department of Safety have confirmed Trump's announcement. Trump's announcement came just 2 days after the conservative luminary was gunned down. Conservative luminary, I really like that. I would like to call him a martyr, but I really like luminary is the way to describe Charlie Kirk.
Is this when all of you that used to watch Benny Johnson realize that he's a total tool? Like right there. A luminary. I really like luminary. I want to call him a martyr, but I really like luminary. I see what you did there. Look at the guy. He's a good writer. The Daily Mail.
Trump's announcement 2 days after the conservative luminary was gunned down during an event at a college campus in Utah, in a horrific moment that was captured on video and shared across the globe. Trump said that he wants to see the killer get the death penalty.
Wow.
And
so keep in mind, the defense wanted media left out of the prelim because things just like this. All of these talking heads on behalf of TPUSA, the administration, because, you know, the FBI's reputation's on the line. Do you know what happened to the FBI and ATF's reputation after Ruby Ridge, after Waco, Texas. Yeah. Well, if they can't work together to make it look like they did a great job, this is going to backfire on all of them. Trump just said that with a high degree of certainty, it is Tyler Robinson, right? And now here he is, Benny Johnson, saying that Trump wants the death penalty for Tyler Robinson. You don't think that's going to sway good, meaning LDS members in Utah that might be on the jury? Pretty much it is. Pretty much it is. Oh, I got to take this bug off of there. Bam. All right, let's continue.
Of the assassination of the man he described as the finest person. This is him describing Charlie Kirk. President Trump describing the method at which they caught, again, we will name Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson. Klein, would you please put that up? This is all that we were able to see yesterday. Yesterday, we had some grainy photos of Tyler Robinson. Yeah, thank you very much. Breaking news, grainy photos of Tyler Robinson. Here he is. Of course, this was maddening because it's very, very difficult. I mean, it's hard to even make out whether this is a man or a woman.
What? Wait, what? He's also talking about the roof footage. The same roof footage that he 10 months later will say is high def 4K. So clear. You can see him take the shot, pull the trigger, see the recoil, see the muzzle flash. Here he is on September 12th saying, it's so grainy. This is such bad footage. You can't even tell if it's a man or a woman. Do you need me to help jog your memory? Okay. Let's take a stroll down memory lane. Let's take a stroll down memory lane while his wife holds him hostage.
District Courthouse here in Utah, the Charlie Kirk preliminary murder trial just wrapped. We were there and witnessed everything. And you have to hear this because it was devastating what we watched. And the judge ruled that you can't see the high definition quality video 4K of Tyler Robinson committing the murder of Charlie Kirk. But we saw it and they played it on giant screens inside of the courthouse. You can see clearly Tyler Robinson's face. You can see crystal clear the license plate number on his vehicle, his movements on the rooftop. You can time it up to when Charlie Kirk was murdered. And what you also couldn't see was what happened inside of the courthouse. Erika Kirk was sobbing in the arms of her mother-in-law. Charlie's mother, Mrs. Kirk, feet away is
Okay, tell me this. Do you think, for real, tell me if you really think this, that this, hold on. That this video, let me just go to this video. Okay. Do you think, I'm not going to play it. Do you think this video would make Erika Kirk and Charlie's parents cry? No. I think it's going to make them go, wait, this is the video we've been waiting for all week. This is the smoking gun you have on this kid. We don't know what that is, who that is. What are you talking about? And Benny would have you believe it was so graphic, so clear that Erika Kirk broke down in tears uncontrollably in the arms of Charlie's parents. You just cannot make this stuff up because they've beat us to it. They made it up already. They're ahead of us.
Tyler Robinson, pale, sallow, bony, emaciated, staring at the floor the whole time, twitching and looking straight ahead, refuses to watch the video, refused to make eye contact with the family. Emotional.
Yeah, I'd refuse to make eye contact with someone I didn't kill either, you know? And I'd probably, on the advice of counsel, don't turn around and talk to anybody, right? All of the news people are back there. They're going to report on it, whether they're allowed to take a still or video photograph of Tyler in court. He's going to be advised not to turn around and give them anything they might want. I also would not want to watch a video of someone else doing something they're saying I'm doing, which they're using to frame me. Yeah. Thanks. No thanks. I'm not going to watch it.
Day, the judge played all 20 minutes of the high definition security footage, and the whole courthouse gasped when it was over. It was really tough to watch. The prosecution has a demonstrable, overwhelming case. They said that multiple times. The defense has nothing.
Well, that makes sense. They said it. They said they had a demonstrable, overwhelming case. They said it. It's true.
They asked minutia questions about DNA evidence, but the judge was just chewing them along.
Minutia, like, is the DNA evidence conclusive that it's Tyler Robinson? That's minutia. Wait. Whose DNA is most degraded? I mean, Tyler Robinson. Stop worrying about the minutia. Wait, you combined the trigger guard DNA and the trigger DNA together, and you had a minimum of 4 contributors to that? Oh, minutia. Stop getting tangled in the weeds here. Focus on what matters. We have a airtight, lock solid case because we say so.
As we get to this 4K video reveal that will eventually be made public, it's already a case that is.
Candace made it public. Thank you, Candace. Not 4K. This looks like a Zelda video game, right? It's like ding, 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 ding. It looks like Mario Brothers 1 on an old school Nintendo. That's what this looks like. Pixel squares just you can't see anything.
Overwhelming against Tyler Robinson. But once you see this video, you will cast out all of the demons that have been attacking the Kirk family. It is.
Look at the wife. Look at these two get up there and do the most evil thing someone could do and tell you that this video proves that it's Tyler Robinson killing Charlie Kirk when you and I know for a fact it doesn't show that. That is how evil these people are. I wondered how evil. Are they doing this because they've been told it is for sure him, but the video is just poor quality, but we don't want to let him get away, so we need you all to go along with it and just say it. But we have other evidence that they supposedly have, whether they told them about it or showed them fake evidence, that made them confident that it's Tyler Robinson to get up there every day and lie like this. It's not because they believe it. It's not because they're looking at the video and going, wow, that is 4K. It's not because they're looking at the video and going like, wow, that is Tyler Robinson. You and I have the same eyes. So what is it? I believe it's fear, blackmail, bribing, threats, demonic, evil, lying, propaganda, deception. They're not good people. Not good people.
Been one of the most grotesque demonic evils that have been visited upon innocent people has happened to this beautiful family.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Benny. Let's hop back over here. What did he say just a second ago? What did he say just a second ago? Let's see what he says. Just right about here. Right about here.
The method at which they caught, again, we will name Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson. Klein, would you please put that up? This is all that we were able to see yesterday. Yesterday, we had some grainy photos of Tyler Robinson. Yeah, thank you very much. Breaking news, grainy photos of Tyler Robinson. Here he is. Of course, this was maddening because
what's crazy is these are grainy photos. The video is worse quality than this. These are better quality than the roof video. Keep that in mind. He calls these grainy. He calls that video high def 4K. He's not stupid. He works in media. There's cameras all around him.
Very, very difficult. I mean, it's hard to even make out whether this is a man or a woman.
I agree.
Yeah, it's just tough. It's just tough these days. There was wild speculation as to who it was,
as
to what was going on, as to what this individual was. Then later in the day, approximately 10 p.m., they released these, I guess you could call them higher quality photographs, still relatively distorted and tough to see. Face obscured, hat on, sunglasses. The FBI.
He's wearing a disguise. Ladies and gentlemen, don't wear a hat and sunglasses in public. They might think you're wearing a disguise. They might arrest you for walking up a staircase.
I said this is the person of interest and you must help us find him.
You must.
They did not release a name. Then late last night, the FBI released some grainy footage. Hey, Alex, let me know if we have loaded again, ladies and gentlemen. Please stay with us.
Oh, we're staying with you, Benny.
Are live the instant that we heard this news. So please stay with us as
Benny
we gather some of the
boo.
assets live on the show. The FBI released some very grainy footage of the perpetrator running across a rooftop, jumping off the building, potentially hurting themselves as they jumped off the building.
Grainy footage, jumping off the building. He's talking about the same footage that he calls 4K high def.
Wandering through a neighborhood with a limp. Some people speculate that limp was a firearm that was inside of the leg of the pants.
You speculated.
Now we know the name of the suspect, 21-year-old Tyler Robbins, 21 years old. Oh, man. 21 years old.
This is fake empathy. This is fake compassion, because 10 months later, he'll get up there and lie and convict him pretty much to death and guilt by saying that the footage inside the court on that Friday of the preliminary hearing is so clear that it removes all doubt. It removes all questions as to who the identity of that individual is on the Losi Center. It is now, per Benny Johnson and Jack Posobiec and Brandon Tatum and Graham Allen, it's an established fact that it's Tyler Robinson. So don't be fooled by their fake empathy and compassion for a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old. He's so young. He had so much of his life ahead of him. He still does, Benny. It's only been 10 months, Benny. Man, these people. Let me get to a couple super chats. Apocalypse Now, what up? Good to see you. If someone tells me they believe Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk, it tells me all I need to know about that person. Irreconcilable, oh my goodness, irreconcilable differences. I'm stuttering today. Irreconcilable. I can say it. Differences. I agree. That is, as others say, this Tyler Robinson investigation, this Charlie Kirk assassination is like a litmus test for the public. It's almost as if they're collecting data on who will not fall in line. It's almost as if this is going to precede something else, and they will be able to determine who will be the ones that will take the marching orders and round everybody else up at a moment's notice. Those that follow the Fed slop narrative, believe the official narrative, trust the administration, and the rest of us, our phones, all of our data, our social media. It's almost as if they are categorizing us right now through this process as to these are threats, these are not threats. It is a litmus test on who they need to watch out for. Those that question everything, those that question authority and the stories and the narratives that this administration try to shove down our throats. KB in the USA. I worry about Charlie Kirk's family as well. However, I think it is very odd that Charlie Kirk's dad worked as a contractor for Trump back in the day. Things that make you go, love your show. So, no. He was part of the architect team. There was like many. There were so many on the Trump Towers. He was just one of like many architects. He wasn't the lead architect, okay? He was one of the lower architects. on the Trump towers. So Charlie Kirk was never Trump's bellboy. He never worked in Trump Tower. That's a false story. Don't believe everything you hear and read on TV. Okay? That's not such a deep correlation that would make me question everything about Charlie and Charlie's dad. Okay? Charlie's dad helping on a massive project with multiple architects, not even being the lead head architect of the tower, is just, I think, it's not important, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Joel Filicetti. Benny must have amazing abilities to be able to watch Tyler Robinson watching the floor the whole time and watch the whole high-def 4K video at the same time. Marvel needs to sign him for his amazing abilities. You're freaking awesome. That's so funny, dude. We didn't know. He's got X-ray vision. He's just like Superman. Benny Johnson, the Superman. He can see through everything.
Little pieces of evidence like this one coming out. This is a video from TMZ.
The other thing, how did TMZ get the footage? All right, I want to go back to here. Yeah, he plays another clip. Let's see. It's going to be right there.
Very difficult footage. It was very hard.
Oh, whoa. I got to back up right when he starts talking. Right here.
And so it was maddening because this is all that we had. We had very grainy, very difficult footage. It was very hard to see it. President Trump saying actually what got him was his father and his minister. Listen to this.
Suspicion was that he was radical left. And now you have more information. What can you share with us about his ideology?
Yeah, Lawrence, let me just, and by the way, Lawrence is doing a good job. What's going on?
Job. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you,
I
sir.
said you were going to do well. But I think that I don't want to go too far. I'd like to tell you some stories at how it happened, but essentially somebody that was very close to him turned him in. And that happens when you had some of those good shots. Somebody is going to say, whether it's a parent or whatever, I'd rather not say right now.
Do you hear that? That's bound to happen when you have some of those good shots. What does he mean by good shots? Oh, he means the footage, the grainy, blurry, not clear, still photographs, the video that he's talking about that's basically useless, where Tyler's the size of an ant. Now he's saying you have such good shots, it leads to someone near him identifying him. Benny Johnson says, you can't even tell if that's a dude or a chick. And supposedly, parents saw that and go, that's my son. That's my son. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we're going to move on to here because we got another clip of Oh Benny, Oh Buddy, Oh Pal. Right here.
And then here is very interesting. The prosecutors say you can see him jumping onto the roof and then laying in a prone position over Charlie Kirk and taking the shot.
As you can see on the video here, there's a cut through there north of the Losi building, and that's Mr. Robinson coming up the sidewalk. He has the noticeable gait or limp in his walk. And then he moves south across the front of the Losi building.
On the sidewalk?
Yes, correct.
Why?
Building goes parking lot to the Losi building, and Mr. Robinson is appearing on the exterior staircase, which gives access to.
So this is the actual footage that they showed in court, and it has the timestamps, and this is how far away it is. He's about to climb up. Right here is the staircase, and there's a little railing that he has to climb over. And then that's where the video picked up today that Candace Owens showed us, where he's just running into the scene, side lateral crawl, prone position, takes a nap, runs and jumps off the roof.
The Losi building roof and the area where the railing was.
And again, let's break that image into quadrants. Where would he be located if you broke it into quadrants?
It's in the top right, and the individual
there.
can be seen
Right there.
moving under the notations that are on the video.
You can see it right here. There it is, right there. You see him?
It's an
actual
ant.
footage
what time
of
is this?
Robinson on the roof.
It's an
It's
ant.
just afternoon, about 12:15
On what day?
on December.
You just can't make it up.
Sorry,
man.
September 10th, 2025.
What just happened, or what did we just see happen?
Nothing.
The individual actually kind of rolls over the railing
this?
onto the roof of the Losi
there?
building.
All right.
Then what does he do?
Well,
You can see him moving
And
around.
again, in the top left corner, the individual is now
Yeah, running. There was no time for him to take out the rifle, assemble the rifle.
seen running across the rooftop of the Losi building
That's a little ant. There
to what would be the southwest corner
right there
of the building.
Now he's going to lateral crawl.
Crouching down
so
and then
far
crawling.
away. You can't see it. Let me get to the part where he's going to start talking and just say what amazing footage this is.
That somebody's lying. If you have something other than Charlie came to you in a dream, or you just have a bad feeling about this, now would be the time. In other words, Candace Owens is a liar in a modern day cult.
This is all you need to know about Benny Johnson. He is quoting Laura Loomer, Larry the Loomer, the goober, and attacking Candace Owens. Oh my gosh.
Once you see all of the evidence that we saw today, it's over. And that's what the lawyers said today. Please pray. Erika Kirk asked us to do this. Pray for a speedy trial. We have a right to a speedy trial here. It's in our Constitution. We don't have to wait years in order to get to a trial phase here. We want justice to be done. Justice has to be
Charlie
done in this case.
This guy's
And
such a
done
scumbag.
immediately. So please pray for the Kirks.
Mm.
They've been through enough. Time for
Mm.
justice for the widow. And just a word to all the Christians out there. The Bible calls us in the Old Testament, the New Testament, to defend the widow, to defend the orphans, to provide for her, and to stand up for her. And so be a Christian today.
Be a
upright.
Christian. The only way to be a Christian today is to support the widow, pray for the widow. If you don't support the widow, you're not a Christian. You're a demon. Let me get to this next. We got another new member, Joel Filicetti. Thank you for becoming a new member today. And Republic Tea Room, member 1 month. Congratulations. Andrea Wilson. I think he has a scope. I think he has a fold up scope so he can see when Charlie gets hit so he knows when to run. Well, okay, so oh my gosh, please don't die, mouse. Please don't die. I might need a new battery. Hold on. I do. I'm going to need a new AA battery. Wifey, if you are listening, can you bring me a AA battery, please? Please bring me a AA battery for my mouse. Thank you. The thing about the scope, though, it doesn't need to be long. He's only 150 yards, 160 yards away from Charlie. You don't need that thing that rolled out is like, it's long. You saw it from a distance and it like unfolds like that. All he would need inside his backpack, inside the backpack, is a scope about yay big. Binoculars, scope. They don't need to be that big. They just need to be, or like a scope that you go when you are spotting for a shooter for your friend. Like when you go to the range and you're saying like, you're up to the right, you need to like calibrate your scope and down to the left. You wouldn't need a big thing like that. I don't think that big thing that unfolds is a scope. You could even just look it up. There's powerful enough scopes. Thank you, sweetie. That would fit inside of his, like, he's not wearing a sweater, but like people that, like a hoodie and that little pocket in front of you, there's plenty powerful enough scopes and binoculars that would fit inside of that hoodie pocket. That's how small it is. You know, he wouldn't need a big scope. So what does this say? 1,000 joules. Corgi. My girls love a corgi. They want a corgi. Why is my mouse freaking out? Maybe it wasn't the battery. I don't know. Stop misbehaving, mouse. Put you in timeout. Andrea Wilson, you're right. They don't need a scope that big, but they are obviously idiots. I agree 100%. And I agree that it's something. And I agree that it unfolds. And I'm scratching my brain for tactical equipment that would be necessary. It looks like it has mechanical parts because it doesn't look like it is a sweater or a jacket that he just flops open. It looks like it has hinges because when he throws it, it kind of like locks into place. Like it has a hinge right here. And he kind of like flips it and it kind of just goes and then it locks flat. What would that be? I don't know. It also could be some sort of weapon system we're not aware of. You guys, there's parts of the military, right? DARPA and other Department of Defense contracts, whether it's like Lockheed, Northrop, Raytheon, and so on. You name the weapon system, manufacturer. There's more, right? There's technology, weapon system technologies that we have no clue exist. And that could be some sort of, it could be some sort of device that, I don't know. I don't know, man. I've even speculated that, I did that one, right? I did, right? Yeah, that's the one you just did. You're right. Okay. I want to make sure I got everyone. Have you ever seen, they have like pneumatic guns that shoot like ball bearings? Okay. They don't really make the same kind of sound that a gun makes. And it wouldn't account for the shirt moving. It wouldn't account for the necklace breaking. But it could account for the odd and weird wound that we see. As of right now, I'm in the exploding Mike camp. Okay. I'm like where Stu Peters and John Bray are. That is where I personally am. That I think that's the most likely explanation for what we see on the film, everything that we see on the film, right? And if you've been part of this community, you know that I've had John Bray on like 3 or 4 times. He has released, and you can go back and watch the videos that I did with him. He released footage on my YouTube that he had only released on X, and we were able to do it just right to play the game with YouTube and not get dinged. And what you see is some kind of explosion under the shirt, which you see the back of the shirt puff out first, and you see what looks like gas, smoke. I don't have a better term. I don't think that it was smoke, but it's like you see a white gaseous like cloud as the back of the shirt is the first thing to move. Then the necklace snaps and flies over the head. Then the front of the shirt lifts up, and then the left side lifts up all the way. All of this has happened before the wound appears on Charlie's neck. You cannot, if you follow the order of operations, you cannot say cavitation caused the shirt to move, the necklace to break. The wound would have had to have been the first thing we see, because then it is the energy being displaced inside the body, and the cavitation would happen and then cause the neck expansion, necklace breaking, shirt moving. But another problem with that is the necklace is so big, it hangs down to like his sternum, right? Down here where like your two rib cages meet. And I think that's called like your xiphoid process, right? If I'm wrong, forgive me. That necklace has such a big radius when it's like made into a circle. The neck would not have expanded to that degree without us seeing it on one of the multiple camera views that we saw from that day. Not to mention, it wouldn't have snapped the necklace down here and flung it that way. Cavitation would have expanded equally across, in a radius, in a, circle, and it would have snapped the back chain or one of the chains and just popped it, right? Just like if you were to put it in sort of like a pneumatic vise, but like the opposite, instead of clamping, it's pushing out. And it's like a circle. So you like put this necklace around it and it just slowly expands, equal pressure on all parts of the necklace in a circle. Eventually, one of the chains or the lobster clasp would snap, but it's not going to send it flying up over the head in one direction. That is because an energy came from down here, snapped the necklace, and shot the necklace over the head. And John Bray and we've broken down the videos. The lobster clasp was intact. It broke in the chain. The chain broke. That's a lot of energy. So personally, I believe it is the exploding mic. However, I'm not an expert. And that's basically using deductive reasoning with my brain and my eyes and trusting that what I see is what I have a good assumption it is. It's the same thing with 9/11, right? We saw the Twin Towers. You saw planes hit it, but when it fell the way that it did, you knew that wasn't because of the planes. As much as they wanted to tell us it was, that was a controlled demolition. Building 7, nothing hit Building 7. There's audio of them saying they're going to pull Building 7. That's a demolition term. We're going to pull it. BBC reported 30 to 45 minutes beforehand that Building 7 had already fallen when it was still in the camera shot. Don't let them try to tell you your eyes deceive you. No, your eyes don't deceive you. Most of the time, your initial gut instinct of what your brain is concluding you think it is what it is. Most of the time. Okay. Honey butter. How do they just give all the evidence back? Pave over the crime scene. It's so heartbreaking. Still think Ben Shapiro had Charlie Kirk whacked. God bless you, Matt. Ephesians 6. Thank you. Yeah, so the evidence that you believe they gave back would be like the necklace, clothing, the cell phone of Charlie Kirk, the car they gave, the SUV they got rid of. They disposed of the soil and the sod. We still don't know where that went, much like the steel beams that remained and were pulled out of the ground zero at 9/11, where they ended up being shipped off and recycled and sold to like China before they could be tested for thermite, which would have been used to slice the beams in order for the controlled demolition to work. We've seen this before. We've seen this before. There is no good, innocent, reasonable explanation to completely, within 4 days, disrupt, destroy, and cover up the crime scene of Charlie Kirk before a thorough investigation could take place. The only thing that can explain that is cover up. Okay? And then they pave over it. So no one can lift those pavers. They're huge. They're heavy with even larger potted plants on top. So even if you wanted to go there and try to get some sort of soil sample that might have remained, you're not going to be able to. Not to mention they took 10 inches of the topsoil, got rid of it. The sod, got rid of it. They needed to make sure no blood remained. No plastic, ABS plastic from the road mic remained. No explosive residue material remained anywhere. All of that could be traced back to the AES, Accurate Energetic Systems plant that blew up in Tennessee. That's why they had to get rid of that plant too, because if they keep a small batch of the explosive material that they create specifically for that contract on file in case they want to order more. You could test it under a microscope and see exactly and compare it to what they have on file and know that it was made at that plant. They had to get rid of it all. So, yeah. Always be true. I'm late, but I made it. Just sent an email regarding another new personnel who got a timely promotion in July 2025. I will look at that as soon as I get a chance. Thank you so much. Always be true. Jane Seth Rupert, good to see you. Any guess on what else Candace will reveal this week? Well, I didn't even get to finish her episode, so I didn't even get to see the second half. I might have a better guess after tonight's show and I go and finish it. And maybe I can tell you guys tomorrow. Obviously not after her show. Whatever she shares tomorrow is going to just be me telling you that that's what she shared, but you guys all watch her. Let me see. I'm looking at the email. All right. It's a lot longer. And I'll need to click on the link. I can do that later and then bring it on to tomorrow's show. Okay. All right. Let's continue with today's show.
Of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
Everybody, welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show on the Monday following what truly was one of the most historic events in the history of our country, remembering Charlie Kirk building a legacy at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. I am joined by an amazing cast of friends who...
Do you guys think that she intentionally almost wore an identical outfit from the outfit that she wore when she first appeared to us here just days? Let me see. This happened on September 13th. Okay. That's when this aired, September 13th. And I want to play this because I want you to tell me if you think it's necessary to wait for the cameras to turn on to then whisper a prayer into the mic while the audience is filming. Okay. I don't, having given that I run a show, I pray every time before the cameras turn on for God to be with me, use me, speak through me for the show, and that it's a good show. To wait for the cameras to turn on and to it just is not right. So I guess I can revise what I had previously stated, that I forgot about this. She doesn't really pray. She kind of whispers a very short prayer that Erika has never prayed on camera. Not really. I don't count. You tell me if you count this as a prayer. Let's get to it. Oh my gosh. We are in sync. Check out my email, please. Okay. I'll have to click on it on my phone. All right. Joe Filicetti, the fact that no one on Charlie's security and TPUSA weren't worried about the possibility of another shot would be taken and didn't reach for their own sidearms in defense says it all. Great studio. Thank you, Joe Filicetti. That's my brother-in-law, and I worked all week. He was out here for a whole week. We worked so hard to make this studio what it is. Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, there was other plainclothes officers and agents of like either the ATF or the FBI that were there. There was uniformed police officers that were there that drew their sidearms, multiple uniformed police officers that drew their sidearms. One that came over and stood right next to the kneeled down. That was the Chinese or Filipino, the Asian police officer that came right over, and he had his sidearm drawn and he was looking for any more potential shooters. Also, there was a couple of the other security team that did draw their sidearms, but the ones that initially got to Charlie were pretending to render aid, and they had to try to pretend, but none of them. I agree partially that some of them didn't draw their sidearms, but I could also understand that their job is to protect Charlie, and in the event he gets shot, is to take a bullet for Charlie, right? And if Charlie's shot, it's not to lay down suppressive fire. It is to get Charlie off the X. And yeah, maybe one or two. Well, that's what I'm saying. Other people, plainclothes agents, officers, and uniformed police officers did draw their sidearms. And there was Officer Bagley and a security team member on the roof that drew their sidearms on the top of the hall of flags. And I want to say like one or two of the actual security team down on the ground. None of the ones that were helping Charlie drew their sidearms. I give you that. But I could see it both ways, you know. They still didn't do their job. I'm not defending them at all. I'm not defending them at all. Listen to Erika.
Jesus. Good evening.
How freaking performative and weird is that? Okay. She waits for the camera to be rolling. So they tell her that, yes, we're rolling. Trust me, they told her that they're rolling before she steps on. And she doesn't say this like prayer affirmation statement before the camera starts rolling. She doesn't say it before she gets to the mic. She waits till she gets full in view and talking into the mic, and she performs that piece for us. That wasn't genuine because she's being in the moment, needing the Lord's strength and power to get through that. That was performative. That was for you and me to perceive her as holy, as Christ-like, as a Christian. And it actually fooled many, many people. But keep in mind, there are hundreds and thousands of Christians that believe pastors like Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen, Benny Hinn. Don't think so highly of people's ability to spot a lie and a grift. Some people just don't have that same, self-awareness. Their radar doesn't go off. They literally go to these churches every Sunday and just keep giving. And they keep believing in these false teachers and prophets and pastors. So yeah, a lot of people believe Erika Kirk. They sure do. Watch it again.
Jesus.
You want to know what that noise was? When she got up to the podium, that clear plastic podium. Here we go. Let's watch this part right here. It is Charlie's supposed necklace that he was wearing that day, but it's not. We can see in the Charles McClintock Wilson photographs, super clear, high quality photographs. Charlie was wearing a necklace with one cross on it, no other pendants. So the one she's holding is like a Lucky Charm bracelet. And it has a cross and two pendants, a St. Michael and another one on the other side. He wasn't wearing one like that day. Furthermore, that necklace on Charlie snapped and broke. It stayed in the collar and it made it to the car that we know of because it was dangling in the car, and there's photos of it dangling out of his shirt right before he gets put in the SUV. However, I don't trust any story that comes from Brian Harple, Frank Turek, or anyone else inside that car, or Erika Kirk, on how they retrieved that necklace and gave it back to Erika. Are you telling me that the FBI, local police released things that Charlie had on his body that day without sending it to the crime scene investigation labs to determine what trace evidence might be on his shirt, pants, shoes, socks, necklace, phone, inside the car? The fact that they relinquished these pieces of physical evidence so quickly is also another indicator of a cover-up. There's no way they could have tested these pieces and got the results back in the time that they released them to Erika and to the team. So, yeah. Let me get this one. They weren't supposed to do their jobs, obviously. I agree. Yeah, they weren't. That their job that day was to not do their job that day. Yes, 100%. 100%. Now, watch what she does right here.
His amazing Charlie Kirk show, who helped him broadcast from this studio, this chair.
What the actual heck? You guys. This aired on September 13th. This aired 3 days after the assassination. She would have you believe that she is such a strong widow Christian that she could get in the office. The studio in which Charlie streamed from every day. Remember her own story. Her and Gigi would watch Daddy every day from home. And Charlie would have a stuffed animal on the desk in camera shot for him to connect with Gigi at home. It was like a cute thing they had together. This would be her first time back in that studio since the last time she was in there when Charlie was alive, or the last time she saw Charlie in there alive and she was watching with Gigi from home. And she can get in there 72 hours later, smile, laugh, talk about Charlie used to being there. He used to be here. He used to sit in this chair right here and not break down. This is what we mean when we say she didn't grieve at all. A real grieving widow would have said, I can't freaking go in there. Are you kidding me? You want me to go in front of a camera and talk about my husband who was alive 4 days ago, but was murdered 3 days ago. And you want me to touch the chair that he sat in for the last 13 years? Roughly. I mean, not really. It was like 12, right? 2014. So 11 years. 2025. So 11 years. That's not grief, ladies and gentlemen, at all. Watch. This is the worst performance from a fake loving wife I've ever seen.
His amazing Charlie Kirk show, who helped him broadcast from this studio,
Who told her to lace that necklace in between her fingers to dangle it on the chair and then say, this chair.
This chair.
This chair.
Every day he loved it. Every day. He loved what he did.
So gross.
I want to thank the millions of people.
So freaking gross. So incredibly gross. Back to the point, she's almost wearing the exact same outfit here. White coat, black lace undershirt, not lace, but like a silk or whatever undershirt. So that, you know, she's wearing her grieving widow uniform. This is her grieving widow uniform. She wanted to make sure everyone subliminally remembered first seeing her 72 hours after when she assumed power. Unbelievable. Thank you for the coins, Michael Sullivan. Nice kayak, bro. I live by lakes. I love the water. Deanne Soland. Sorry, I'm behind the live, but I haven't heard anyone point out he dropped something on the roof just before jumping. I have a photo of screenshots if you want. You could send it to me. I mean, I don't know how you could be able to tell that from the footage. The footage is so bad. It's pixelated. And I mean, you're saying he drops it on the roof right before he jumps off. Yeah, you can email it to me. I'll take a look at it for sure. Yeah, I'll take a look at it for sure. It's a really bad quality footage, and it kind of leaves figments. It leaves like ghost impressions of things as he's running across, because it's a little delayed, that the color is a little bit behind him in the pixels right as he's running. And so, but I'll take a look. Go ahead. Please send it to me, Deanne. And if it shows it, I'll put it up. I'll pull it up right now. Thank you, Donna Russell, for the Unk alert. Heather Klein, could have been the murder weapon they released back to the actual killers. What do you mean? Wait. You might be behind. Are you talking about the thing that went like that? It could have been the murder weapon they released back to the actual killers. Or you mean the necklace? The necklace? Yeah. The necklace she's holding is not the necklace he wore that day. That necklace was busted. Whether the explosive material was in the cross pendant, I think it's the mic. I think that's the most likely suspect. But yeah, I think she had a different necklace to wear on her hand, and now she wears all the time. That is the happiest widow I've ever seen. I agree, Stargazer forever. And they would gaslight you that you noticing is evil and demonic. You noticing that she's not actually grieving is evil. Not her not grieving. That's not evil. You noticing is evil. Not, it's insane. First super chat here. I spy a stolen fold AR from Texas. Go Max. The Garrison Project. Wait. You're making my brain think. I think, yeah. All right. I'll get to that. I think if Charlie was shot with a fold AR, it wasn't that guy on the roof. That guy on the roof was to get up there to be caught on camera, to flop something open, to spot something, to be a distraction, to be caught on camera because then he jumps off the roof. He runs right towards the area where the supposed murder weapon is found. They needed something with video evidence that they could then say, well, we took dogs up there. They grabbed the scent from the prone position area and then traced it from the where he jumps down across the road and over into that area. And or it gives them a direction to start looking for the Mauser. So if there was a fold AR used, I think it's someone on a different roof from a different angle, probably further to Charlie's left, one of those roofs over there, which is like the Sorensen building. One of those other roofs over there would have a better line of sight to that side of Charlie's neck. But that still doesn't explain the necklace breaking, the shirt moving, the weird wound in the neck appearing after the shirt comes back down. That's why, to me, the most plausible theory is the necklace. It's the only thing, in my opinion, that can explain what we see in the proper order of operations that we see it. If he was shot with any gun at all, the wound would appear first. And cavitation is not going to make the shirt do what it did. It's not going to make the necklace break and fly over the head like they did. It'll make it move a little because he's going to get shot. There's a little bit of cavitation, not to the degree in which it would be needed in order to break the necklace and make that shirt fly up like that. So for me, if anyone's on a roof with a fold AR, it is to shoot I don't know, a blank, a dummy, or a round just in the air for the gunshot or for, I do not hold to the whole bullet flying over the crowd into the trunk of the car. To me, that's one step too much, not needed. But anyway, Chris Stellar, Silver Star, thank you. All right, let me get back to, I'm falling behind you guys. I got to stay on track. All right, so I'm going to hop ahead to my first timestamp here, which is 10:40.
Permit to do it with the full force of the Swiss government. They couldn't pull that off. I just want to like take a giant step back, and perhaps we have some imagery that the producers could play of the size of the audience, the scale of the audience. Mm-hmm. Not only were the rafters filled, not only was the floor filled, where you wouldn't get that normally in an NFL game or an NBA game, right? Or a professional hockey game. The field is for the players, right? And there's just a handful of them. But also, the behind the stage was filled. Let me explain that. These are people who are sitting, maybe you could see it right here. These are people who are sitting that can't see the program, but they're still there to just stare at a wall. There's an overflow room also that was at near capacity. Yeah. Another minor
10,000.
League sports arena. Yes.
Yeah. That was at the Desert Diamond.
Wait, that's weird. This isn't the video that I had at 10:40. Oh my gosh. My mouse is really acting funky right now. It was the other Benny Johnson that I didn't get, or I might have gotten to that timestamp. Hold on. Too many Benny Johnson videos. Let's see. All right, if it's this one, is it this one? Hold on. Let's see. The big tip came in. Person Tyler Robinson turned himself in. No, that wouldn't be it either. Hold on one second. I'm trying to find the right one. Give me a schmeckend, please. I want to make sure I have the right one. This is why. All right, so that's not Benny. That's not Benny. I didn't delete it. Where did you go? Okay, I think this is it. Oh, okay. So 1040, and I did get to that part, and then it would be 1328. All right, so then that is this video. This one's it, and that's where I messed up. All right, so let's go to 1320 here.
Doing that. But also, Charlie Kirk brought together massive coalitions of, well, at any Turning Point event, you can find Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, and Tucker Carlson sharing the same stage, right? Maybe not together, but they're all there, right? To give an opportunity to project their worldview, right?
So what do you think he means by that? Oh my gosh, my bad, guys. Sorry, that's my fault. My bad. My goodness. Let me exit this tab out. Well, I exited the wrong out. Oh no, it's this one. All right. So 1325.
Doing that. But also, Charlie Kirk brought together massive coalitions of, well, at any Turning Point event, you can find Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, and Tucker Carlson sharing the same stage, right? Maybe not together, but they're all there, right?
What do you think he meant by that? And this is on September 22nd, that Charlie Kirk would have Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and Ben Shapiro, yes, on the same stage, not together, so they could both share their own worldview. That means, and just ask yourself, after listening to Charlie Kirk day in and day out, which I did for years, his worldview was much more in alignment with Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. There's a reason why Tucker Carlson had Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk on back-to-back in August of 2025. The three of them were more like this. Ben Shapiro's way over here. He only had Ben Shapiro on to allow Ben Shapiro to out himself in the marketplace of ideas, because the best way to do that is what he did with Dave Smith and Josh Hammer. Put them both on the stage, let them debate their ideas, let the people decide. Charlie was a firm believer that the people weren't dumb, that the people could make up their own mind and come to the right conclusion. They could listen to Josh and Dave and know Dave's ideas are right. They can listen to Tucker, Candace, and Ben and conclude Ben is a crazy crackpot Zionist. So even on September 22nd, 2025, even Benji will tell you that really the only reason why he had Ben Shapiro on the same stage as Tucker and Candace was A, to be fair. 3, he's a coalition builder. 4, or sorry, A, that was like Biff, or not Biff, but Buzz. What's the older brother in Home Alone? He goes, A, I'm not that lucky. 2, we live in the most boring city everywhere. And D, something else. That something won't happen to Kevin. He doesn't go 1, 2, and 3 or A, B, and C. He goes like 1, B, and D or something like that. I just pulled a Buzz or whatever it is. That he really only had Ben Shapiro on to allow the public to see how bad Ben's ideas are right in between or after Tucker and Candace got to share theirs. That's my opinion. But I think even Benny's pointing that out. All right, let me go to the next timestamp. All right. It was 1328. Yeah, I said that. All right, 1834. 18. Like go right here.
Of things before it happens. But, you know, the amount of people in that room yesterday, I mean, like, I could feel it. I was genuinely convinced that the Holy Spirit was in the room yesterday. And I saw Elon tweet, what did you tweet?
Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those. Yeah.
Right. And then I ran up to you and showed you immediately. You were in the middle of talking to somebody, but I was so excited. I'm like, here, like, look at this, Andrew. I was so,
blew my
excited.
mind. Blew my mind. And I think we all felt, you know, Tucker had that great line, and he said the Holy Spirit was what did he say? It was.
Do you believe that because Elon Musk tweeted something for the first time ever that was from our scriptures, that was biblical, means that he was actually moved by the Holy Spirit? No. Do you think that, has he done it since? No. Has he ever done it before? No. Do you think because those politicians like Trump and JD Vance got up there at the memorial and started talking about scripture and their Christian walk and faith, that they're Christian? No. It was politically expedient for the time to gain support from the base. Elon saw, you never let a good crisis go to waste. Never let a good crisis go to waste. And they didn't waste Charlie Kirk's death and memorial at all. Just like Trump didn't waste Lindsey Graham's memorial at all. So we'll listen to that in a minute. You tell me if the same guy that could get up there and say all these positive things about Lindsey Graham, that we should actually believe what he said about Charlie Kirk. Get out of here. No, not at all. This case is more similar to the Corey Richins case than we thought. The video of her celebrating the day after his death and the same attorney as Tyler's, maybe EK will be exposed just like Corey. It's a good point. There's also two other cases that we're going to look at today. Brian Kohberger rescinded his guilty plea and is claiming innocence. That happened today. And then this last week, there's another case, the David case, where this man is on trial for murdering, I think his like girlfriend or some girl. I don't know the relationship. This was the first I heard of it today. We're going to listen to someone as they compare that to the Tyler Robinson prelim, and it's going to blow your mind. So Andrea Wilson, maybe he does have a fold AR. So if plan A doesn't work, they go to plan B. Yeah, 100%. I'm not opposed that he has a fold AR in the backpack. I don't think the thing that he flopped open is an AR, a fold AR. From my knowledge and understanding of the fold ARs, they don't flop open like that. They fold like this and they open up like that. I can't pull it up and show it on here because it's alive. I can't show like knives and guns and things like that. But even Corby Hall himself, I showed it earlier, a post on X, he goes, he can't definitively say that the thing in that video is a fold AR. So if anyone would be able to identify a fold AR from a grainy, bad video, it would be Corby. But I'm glad that he showed, caution and restraint from just getting out there and spouting off that it was a fold AR. I think it's something else. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't, to me, seem like a fold AR. But I do think it's possible that person might have a fold AR in their backpack. But I actually think someone on another roof probably has a fold AR, maybe where they found that other 226 round, right? I think the person on that roof didn't have any weapons. I think that person jumped over to get caught on camera, to lay down so they could pin this on Tyler, have the person jump off the roof and run over by the woods so they could say, that's what led us over there. We saw this video and we started looking over there in the woods. And what do you know? That's where we found the Mauser. So that's what I think the purpose of that roof video was. Ray Marie, thank you so much. Did it not let you write a comment? Oh, thank you so much, Ray Marie. It didn't let you write anything. I'm so sorry. Maybe you can just write in the chat and one of my mods can send it to me so you don't have to pay for another super chat if you're trying to write something. Sometimes it does that. It won't let you write what you're trying to write. So I don't want you to have to pay for it again.
Was humming like a tuning fork in there. And you could you could not help but step into that room and feel that. And I think probably, there was our production team that was running all the streams, they logged well over 100 million streams, and that was just the ones they knew about. That's not broadcast. That's not obviously clips of the memorial. That's none of that stuff. That was they could just log over 100 million. That number will grow. It will end up being probably close to about a quarter of a billion when it's all said and done. But what do you think? I mean, you were kind of observing. I saw you a couple of times. Blake was just kind of taking it all in, and sometimes Blake can be very kind of in your thing you're doing, and you were unusually sort of observant of the wider moment. I saw you a couple of times. What was it like for you, Blake?
You know, I think the moment I think a lot of people who are there are going to remember is actually right at the start, before any of the speakers come out. It's just right at the beginning where they had all the different signs that were color coded. And I remember they chose the signs very well. It was like one of them was the, "Here I am, Lord, send me." Yeah. Another was the I think, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Like they had a good selection of
Trust me, I'm getting to something. It's coming.
The music is just the strings. There's no one singing or anything. And it goes for, man, it felt like it was 5+ minutes. Everyone just sort of sitting there like marinating in the moment. And that felt very powerful. I saw a lot of people crying. I think I teared up during it. And you had several moments of that throughout the night. It was a entire event, very rich with meaning, very rich with common feeling. And I think everyone there is going to remember it the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and you were going around interviewing people, Nick. What were people telling you?
Well, I mean, first off, what was really interesting to me were the amount of people. Like Turning Point Action yesterday was super busy, going around registering voters. Like people want to get involved.
Wait, what's that? Turning Point Action, Tyler Boyer's staff personnel were not allowed to observe the memorial. That was an order from on high. Guaranteed that came from Tyler Boyer. We're not going to miss an opportunity to register this many people to vote. So people that worked for Turning Point Action, as well as TPUSA, because we're going to get to Aubrey Leish in a second, who ends up being fired, weren't allowed to sit and take in that moment and just be a participant at the memorial for their boss, colleague, and maybe friend. That's the kind of people running that organization, the 5 different, those affiliate organizations. Those people worked tirelessly to set up the event, hold the event, and then they weren't even allowed to participate, observe, and enjoy and respect Charlie in that moment. They were tasked to work during the event. That's Erika, Tyler Boyer, Andrew Kolvet from on high.
These are people that didn't really pay too much attention to politics before. Maybe they did casually, but now all of a sudden, this happened. It woke a lot of people up. It scared them. It shook them to the core. I've been speaking to my mother as well.
Oh, I bet.
Who she's been a lifelong Democrat, loved Obama when I was growing up. And she called me and was like almost in tears because she didn't know Charlie before. She didn't know anything.
All right, let me get to the next one. It's 20. Yeah. All right, so 2508.
I believe that this, and you should contact the Guinness Book of World Records. This is most likely Charlie's memorial service, the single largest apostolic event in modern history.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw this. Somebody tweeted out a photo of, the monitors for all the different news networks. Every single major news network in the Western world was tuned in live, not cutting to any commercials while these big speakers were going. Absolutely crazy.
And I will tell you, I handle press for Turning Point events historically. And so I sort of had to, on top of a number of other things that I was doing, and my team did an amazing job. Shout out to Aubrey.
Oh,
you did a phenomenal job, Aubrey Leish. Thank you so much for stepping up. Aubrey's just one of those people that said, I want this. I know you can't focus on this like you normally do. I want you to trust me. And I said, okay, Aubrey, it's yours. Don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up.
I got so many compliments on the job she did, just kind of playing orchestra. She was orchestrating the choir. She was, it was a really amazing job because there was so much press going on. But this is what we heard from the venue. Now, remember, the venue does Super Bowls. They do special events all the time. And I will tell you, they said this was more press interest from around the world, not just America,
Yes.
than the Super Bowl or any other special event they've ever been a part of. And I believe it is a very true fact to say that the gospel was just proclaimed to more people.
You guys remember Aubrey Leish? This is Aubrey Leish.
My name is Aubrey Leitch, and I am the former public relations manager for Turning Point USA. And I was a part of the recent kind of mass termination group at Turning Point, and was let go about 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
And at the time of my release, I was working for the ATK company,
Which is Andrew Kolvet's. Let's go back here. Let's hear what he says about Aubrey. I mean, glowing review, right? Let me skip him because I don't need to listen to that guy talk. Where's Andrew? Right there. Up.
On top of a number of other things that I was doing, and my team did an amazing job. Shout out to Aubrey. You did a phenomenal job, Aubrey Leitch. Thank you so much for stepping up. Aubrey's just one of those people that said, I want this. I know you can't focus on this like you normally do. I want you to trust me. And I said, okay, Aubrey, it's yours. Don't mess it up. And I got so many compliments on the job she did, just kind of playing orchestra. She was orchestrating the choir. It was a really amazing job because there was so much press going on. But this is what we heard from the venue. Now, remember, the venue does.
So she got fired for doing an amazing job, being the maestro of an orchestra, handling Andrew's job for him, pulling off what will later be coined the event of the century. Remember, Erika then tells everyone what an amazing job they did, how much merch sales, how many people they registered to vote, how many people were present, how short a time they had to plan this, and they pulled it off. Charlie would be proud. Aubrey Leish pulled it off and then gets fired. Andrew just shouted her out and said what a phenomenal job she did. So why was she fired? She was fired for asking questions. She was fired for not believing the official narrative. She was fired for noticing weird behavior from Erika Kirk, Tyler Boyer, Andrew Kolvet, Blake Neff, Mikey McCoy. You cannot have dissent in the ranks. Better get rid of them.
which is spokesman Andrew Kolvet's private business that contracts out with the Turning Point kind of ecosystem. So encompassing of Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action. I was working directly for him. Prior to that, I did work for Turning Point USA. So I've been with the organization since 2021. So my boss, Andrew Kolvet, and I had a very close working relationship. I talked with him on a weekly, if not daily basis. My tasks were assigned by him to me, working directly for him.
All right, so this is a long interview. It's like 12 minutes. I just wanted to remind you who Aubrey Leish was and that she came out after being fired and told everyone her experience inside right before the assassination, during the assassination, and after, and that they had no cause. The only cause they had was because they didn't like her. That was it. Because she asked questions like Charlie. It's the only thing that keeps us free. Don't stop asking questions. Why does Aubrey Leish get fired? Asking questions. Got it. Got it. But they're fighting for Charlie's legacy. Erika Kirk would have you believe at her most recent Make Heaven Crowded event tour that she will never stop fighting for Charlie's legacy. I say screw forever. Start today, Erika. Let's go to the next timestamp, 25:40. Here we go.
Greater than Christ. Christ is king. But you will do even greater things than these. And everybody who had a hand in yesterday's event was a participant in those greater things because, as you said, we have social media. We have this ability to spread the message so far and so wide and so quickly.
Right.
So truly amazing. to be a part of that.
It is hard to put.
Oh, that was it. I already passed it. Okay. I got through those timestamps. Now we're done with these jokers. Let's move on to here. Okay. Buckle up.
I grew up watching you on TV for all the big trials and stuff. This is so cool. I was very excited when Mario told me that he needed me to fill in for him today. So thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything you want us to plug in terms of a Substack or Twitter? Do you want no? Okay.
No, Twitter's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
At Mark Garagos, that's fine.
Phenomenal. Okay. Well, I was intrigued by the topic. I don't normally cover, I'm a foreign policy nerd. So this was, of course, I think that, they might be related. I mean, who knows?
I was going to say there's a substantial number of people who take the position that this is foreign policy related.
Yeah, I should be careful, right? Yeah, no. Yes. So let me ask you, what is going on? Because I'm not a lawyer, but it does seem like, regardless of what people think happened, the Utah trial just seems odd. Am I wrong in thinking that?
Nope.
No, and by the way, there are kind of weird facts and things that are brought out that strike, I think, people who follow this matter as odd. And I don't think that it's, I know that whenever you bring this up, people want to debunk it as conspiracy theorists. People want to diminish people as conspiracy theorists, but there are legitimate questions. One of the ones that kind of intrigues me, if you will, is they want to use the words of his roommate / lover by virtue of putting up a videotape. And it was a videotape that they only were allowed, the prosecution, to put up a portion of. Well, the interesting thing about that is you can't cross-examine a videotape, and the defense wanted to do some cross-examination. And people say, well, it's a preliminary hearing. What does that matter? Why does that matter? I'll give you an example of another case that's been in the news nonstop in the last week. That is the David case. Now, the first 4 days of that preliminary hearing.
Was it always be true? Sorry, hold on. I know I don't want to jump off. Well, actually, let's finish this and then I can address the emails that I just received. Okay. And what I think it shows. All right. Let's continue with this.
It was basically all the people in the comments and most commentators are saying, oh, this is horrible. He's good for it, meaning he's guilty. There is no defense, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then they get to the medical examiner, and I've been saying all along in this case, but I understand the horrific nature in David of the cover-up, so to speak, of the disposal of the body, which is horrific. However, that doesn't answer any questions about the crime itself.
Okay, so what he's talking about is another murder that happened and a preliminary trial that recently took place, and how everyone was so positive this individual is the murderer. And they've kind of come out swinging about, maybe I have it under my watch later. Yeah. I didn't play the video, but it's more evidence piles up at David's shocking murder hearing. Day 5 of preliminary hearing in David murder case. I didn't pre-watch those, so I don't know what it shows, but this guy gives a very good breakdown of it. But pretty much there's similarities I didn't have anything pulled up. I was just reading what the video description was. So I didn't show anything because I didn't pre-watch it. I get nervous about showing things I haven't watched in a live. All right. So that's why as well, like if you guys send me something in a live, I might not show it in the live. There's very, very strict rules with lives. Not that I don't trust anybody. I just have to always do my due diligence to make sure that I watch something before I play it. But so what this gentleman is saying is that there's similarities in the cases being prosecuted against Tyler Robinson and this David guy, and how everyone was like, it's a foregone conclusion that Tyler Robinson did it, that David did it. But the thing that's different in the prelims, well, they actually brought witnesses on the stand. The prosecution did, and the defense was able to cross-examine the witnesses in the David case, and they did not hold up under scrutiny. And then people started having more questions about what the conclusory statements that were made by the prosecution, and even text messages similar to Tyler Robinson's case, and why the prosecution didn't allow Lance Twiggs to go on the stand when the defense wanted to cross-examine. Well, because Lance Twiggs would not withstand cross-examination.
Meaning the homicide. And then look what happens. Yesterday, as we're taping this on Tuesday, the defense got up in that case and they were able to cross-examine a medical examiner. And cross-examine the officer. And boy, all of a sudden people started to say, well, wait a second here. These text messages show something different. The medical examiner is saying something different.
There you go.
It gives fuller context to it, and you're not getting a one-sided, what's obviously skewed prosecutorial view. Now, go back to Tyler Robinson, or circle back. I wonder, and I jokingly, maybe not so jokingly, have said, who is the lawyer for Lance, because he deserves Lawyer of the Year, because I know prosecutors who would have Lance sitting at the counsel table as a defendant.
This was my question as well when I was watching the trial. I didn't understand. I'm sorry, but yes, yeah, exactly. Keep going.
Yeah. And so you've got somebody who clearly had some involvement, whose DNA was in very odd places, at least from a prosecutor. Now, you can explain away the DNA. You can say, well, they lived together. Of course, the DNA is going to be on this or that. By the way, if you're doing that, you're doing what a defense lawyer does. You're not doing what a prosecutor does. A prosecutor draws every negative inference when he's trying to accuse somebody of a crime. And so all of the things that point towards the roommate, and some people said, well, the roommate didn't know. One of their working theories is that the roommate, that Tyler Robinson was trying to impress his roommate / lover. Well, there are other alternatives, and the theory of the case for the motive is not an element of the crime. The elements of the crime are, did Tyler Robinson go? Did Tyler Robinson pull the trigger? And did Tyler Robinson have any accomplices? And what happened before, during, and after? That's what so even though it's a preliminary hearing, even though I often say that just means, is my client breathing, it still requires a modicum of proof. And I will tell you that if the prosecutor went into that preliminary hearing with Tyler Robinson and had the expectation that we're going to debunk all of the conspiracy theories, I would tell you that I think you ignited or gave great credence to a lot of the
prosecution
theories.
Yep.
I couldn't agree more.
Yep.
But I've been saying this too, regardless of what people think. It's I don't think the trial has been very helpful in terms of clearing up. Let me ask you this. I did catch some of that hearing. I think it was a week or two ago, and they interviewed this English accented cop who was apparently the lead detective.
Yeah, Detective Hall.
And I wish I had kept the video saved. I would have played it here, but I don't have it saved. But he indicated that the Ring camera footage that they're using to place the car that Tyler Robinson owned, he said the Ring camera footage, they have the car driving by near the campus, but it's got a bald guy and 3 other unknown people. He testified to this. What is going on here? Because in my experience, lone gunmen act alone. So, I don't really understand. Could you clarify? I mean, is this just sort of?
I think this is precisely what happens when you do what we call a hearsay prelim, where you just introduce things because you think if you're a prosecutor, it's the perfunctory way to get the evidence in. And when it turns out that the evidence can be viewed or is susceptible of two interpretations. By the way, that's the definition of reasonable doubt, two reasonable interpretations. And the other thing that was particularly annoying.
I'm going to pause because we're going to continue because this is just phenomenal. That we've had an echo chamber, right? People like Andrea Burkhart, who goes on like the Paramount Tactical, Gary Meltdown, Paramount Not So Tactical show, goes on the Real America's Voice show with Andrew Kolvet and Blake Neff, gets out there as a lawyer, right? And says that the evidence is a mountain, it's an avalanche, it's overwhelming. If 90% got thrown out, the 10% would still convict Tyler Robinson. They have the audacity to attack people like Baron Coleman. We have another very experienced defense attorney here and a very smart individual, this other gentleman on the left, finally coming out and talking about this, saying all the same things we've been thinking and feeling the entire time. We're not crazy. They're gaslighting us. Graham Allen, Benny Johnson, all of those talking heads, Brandon Tatum, telling us that if we have the same questions as these two men have, we're demonic and evil. It's unreal. Elizabeth Matheson, the staff that worked nonstop couldn't watch. Correct. 400 joules. Thank you, honey butter. 100 joules. Thank you, Chris Stiller. And then we have 2 joules. Thank you, Chris Stiller. And again, yep. And then Chris Stiller, another 2 joules. Thank you. And then we have this. EK just said in Seattle while fumbling her words, Charlie wished he could be there. I think what she said was, it should have been Charlie. Like, Charlie should have been here. This should be Charlie. And even if she did say Charlie wish he could have been there, did she say that Charlie said he wished he could have been there? Or is she just doing what she does when she's like speaking on behalf of Charlie because like she's communicating with Charlie in heaven, going like, Charlie wishes he could be here. I know Charlie. I have his journals. He wrote me all these letters. I'm his wife. I know him. No one knows him better than me. Charlie wish he could have been here. Or did she say Charlie said he wanted and wished he could be there? Either way, And then Lucas Miles just said they didn't plan Make Heaven Crowded until after he died. Right. That's what makes me think, like, I don't know that she was saying Charlie said that he wished he could be there. I think that's Erika being Erika, like speaking on behalf of Charlie Kirk. But yeah, they didn't plan the Make Heaven Crowded events until after the assassination. Yep. She had to wait. I don't think Charlie would have been okay with it. Charlie. Okay. So I know someone that knows the McCoys. Okay. I don't, but I know someone who knows someone very close to me. And there was a falling out between Charlie and Rob McCoy. That kind of falling out, I think, would spread across all the different Calvary Chapel pastors as well. They're all so connected. Frank Turek is an apologetist, but he's in that Calvary Chapel movement. You have Greg Laurie, Jack Hibbs, James Cadiz. And them partnering with Erika for the Make Heaven Crowded events after the assassination is pretty telling to me. I don't think he was on board with this, especially because all of those pastors are Zionists first, before Americans. They say that. That is like their guiding light. It's pretty gross. So if he's parting from the pro-Israel cause and he's departing from connections from people that will defend Bibi, the war in Gaza, the genocide and ethnic cleansing that's taking place in Palestine, well, he's going to be departing from all these pastors. Why didn't Erika stay with that separation? No, she doubled down, got closer, allowed Israel's foreign ministry to use their FAR filings, the Show Faith by Works and Clock Tower X, to push propaganda and to surveil those in attendance at these events, to geo-track, tag, fence those in attendance, shove pro-Israel, anti-Hamas propaganda to their phones. Superfeed Technology, Lori Franzvi, Brad Parscale. I know so much about this whole thing that my determination of Erika Kirk being evil is built on not assumption, not speculation. It's on multiple pieces of data.
About that hearing is the way that the prosecutor would show grainy footage and then suggest or say, well, there's Tyler Robinson shooting. Well, you can't tell that. There's nobody who can tell that from the various shots or videos that they're showing that were entered into evidence. But they say that as if you will just fill the gaps, or your brain will fill the gaps of what your eye can't see, because a lot of what was put on as evidence, I'm telling you, is very susceptible to an interpretation that there was an accomplice. And I'll cite another matter that's also, and this happens quite a bit with these high-profile cases. You know, Brian Kohlberger is in the news today because he's now trying to set aside his plea. And one of the things that's been suggested by many people is that he had an accomplice, but that he kind of ran through it and pled guilty to spare himself the death penalty. And he's not saying it, but he's suggesting there's something else there.
Right. Okay. So the neurological process that the gentleman was just talking about, which the media, like they did it with 9/11, right? They did it with bin Laden. They do it all the time. They give you enough evidence or enough information, not evidence, information, and then your brain fills in the gaps and connects the dots, even though the dots don't connect, okay? It's called perceptual filling in, all right? When the brain fills in missing visual data, the neurological process is called perceptual filling in. Depending on the context, there are a few terms that describe how your brain invents information to overcome its own blind spots. Okay. Also, you have the Gestalt law of closure, saccadic masking, and visual confabulation. Okay. This is known, and then the neurological, in extreme neurological cases, it's known as Anton syndrome. Oh, that's something else. If you mean the brain can't solve the problem because of damage. No, okay, so not the last one. Sorry, I should have read that before I read that out loud. All right, let's continue. But perceptual filling in the spots that like the eyes and the brain can't see and solve with lack of information. That's what they're counting on when they release pieces of not connected information and evidence, and then your brain has just enough to then connect them.
There is, in many of these crimes that have happened, more than one person, which I always think is where you should start with, as opposed to this kind of lone person acting out there, perfectly calibrated, executing flawlessly. And if you let the evidence take you to where whatever conclusion you're going to draw, a lot of these cases are a lot more complicated than I think at first blush.
I think you're right, and certainly, you know, not to dwell on the foreign policy angle, but man, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background with this story that is very disconcerting. Let me ask you also.
Well, let me ask you some. what your bailiwick, so to speak, is
Yeah.
foreign policy.
Yeah.
What resonates to you, and what sounds crazy about what you've heard?
Well, I mean, the thing is, Charlie was a Zionist, 100%, but he did at the end start to have a change of opinion, and I mean, it's very obvious, and you can just watch some of his interviews in the last year or so of his life, and you see him really questioning that, and you know, that organization he ran was very important for the Zionist cause. So
Yep.
it influenced, and Charlie had a lot of influence with the president and, you know, his opinions on foreign policy. I think one of the reasons Trump de-escalated in the 12-day war was because of things that Charlie was sending his way and privately. I think that Trump was listening. So I have no idea if it's connected, but Charlie was very important from a foreign policy angle, specifically in the Middle East portfolio. When it came to the Republican Party, obviously the Democrats, different story. But so I don't know if they're connected or not. But it is very odd, and I don't think the Utah prosecution or the way they're doing this is helping to alleviate any concerns of, you know.
So you kind of hit exactly on my point, at least.
Yeah.
I do a podcast with Matt Murphy. Matt is a former homicide prosecutor. We used to do cases against each other for years. We now have a podcast called In the Well, shameless plug. Anyway, Matt is adamant. He says, it's, you know, you can't go there. You can't do this. It makes no sense. It's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And what I would push back and say, okay, I understand your position and I get how you're framing it. The problem you've got is that when you put on evidence in a proceeding that necessarily is going to be questioned, you have a right to cross-examine. It's embedded in the...
I agree. I'm going to keep playing it, but hold on, guys. Will you guys do me a favor? We have 991 people here, and we have 680 likes. Please do me a favor if you're part of that 200 and something bunch that hasn't hit the like yet. It's the best free way to help support this channel. And I really, really appreciate it. And it really does make a difference. Please just take a second and hit that like. Thank you.
Constitution and the Sixth Amendment. And when you cross-examine and start to look at the evidence, there are questions that have to be asked and have to be answered. And that's why, circling back to what you just said, it did not, if the prosecution thought this was going to dispel the conspiracy rumors, it did quite the opposite.
Yeah.
So how does this impact, though, a potential jury pool? I mean, going forward, because, you know, the way I'm looking at it, if all they need is one to hold up the whole process on reasonable doubt in terms of jurors, do you think this thing could end with, you know, the jury not being able to come to a conclusion here?
So every case, I say this all the time, and I sometimes get in trouble for it. The case is over after jury selection. I don't care.
Hold on.
You could pick the best.
A super chat just came in that I think is spot on, actually. Oh, and I don't have my lower third up there. Hold on. My goodness, my freaking mouse is freaking out. Can you just move the where I want you to move, Mr. Mouse? Thank you. You just behave a little bit longer. All right, we got Dina Soland for the 250 joules. Thank you. And we have Goofy mom of 5 kiddos. Charlie wanted to be remembered for faith, not registering voters. I agree. For his courage of faith. He wanted to be remembered for his courage of faith. And I think they know about that clip, all of those in TPUSA. And that's why they all, like Frank Turek and all of them, have been pushing this narrative that Charlie refused bulletproof vests. He refused ballistic glass. He saw the crowd. And even though Frank said there's too many roofs, too many people, Charlie, he goes, welcome to the big leagues. They want you to believe that his faith was so strong that even in the face of obvious threats, he walked out there anyway. I don't think that he thought there were threats. Not clear and present danger. Not articulable threats present. I think that Brian Harple, and this is my opinion, Dan Flood and everyone on that team assured him that everything was covered, whether that be by them or that they communicated to the UVU police to get the spots that they couldn't cover themselves. I believe Charlie went out there not worried at all. If you go back and watch the videos, he doesn't seem apprehensive. He doesn't seem concerned. He seems very relaxed. He seems very comfortable in his element. He doesn't seem to be thinking of like something might happen. He doesn't seem to be on edge. He's not hypervigilant. He's not scanning the crowd. He's not scanning the roofs. I think he put his faith and trust in his team. Sadly, this is the one I wanted to read. Tim Johnstone. I'm an Aussie. What up, mate? 1000% whole is 1-2. I agree. His accent is not English. We always say old man when referring to our father. I reckon he was involved in the texts because if you remember in the texts, it refers to my old man. Love the show, mate. Thank you, mate. I agree with you, by the way. I most, if not all, of those texts, not all, I say all. I mean, there might have been like the innocent ones that are sprinkled in there that have nothing to do with that day. No. Even the ones where he's like, I love you, my love. No, all of those texts that they used and they showed at trial are not written by a 21-year-old, what seems to be a totally heterosexual young man. High functioning, autistic, on the spectrum, wearing the same shirt all the time, wearing the same clothes, the same hat in photos and videos that we see across years and years. That shows to have like sensory issues where he likes specific fabric, the specific way that shirt feels and fits on his skin. He wears the same hat all the time. That's why the Eagle Boy outfit was foreign to Twigs. He goes, I've never seen him wear that shirt, and I've never seen him wear that hat. And I can't tell if those are his glasses, but he has glasses. And I'm not sure about those pants specifically being Tyler's, but Tyler does have pants. Really, the only thing in that photo of Eagle Boy that points to being Tyler Robinson is he's got the same Chuck Taylors. Wow, there's 500 million in circulation. Thanks for narrowing it down. When the prosecution asked, can you identify this guy? He goes, nah, not with certainty, not 100%. I could point out clothes that Tyler might have. Thanks for nothing, Twigs. Always be true. Even when you believe in God, you look both ways before crossing a busy road. Just saying TPUSA is unbelievable. Agreed. Him going out there, or even him not choosing to go out there, wouldn't have been a sign of not having faith. That would have been a sign of being a smart person that likes his life. We live in a fallen world where evil people have free will and can choose to do evil things. God does not intervene on every issue that happens here on earth. And in fact, the devil is like the prince of this world. He has temporary dominion in his mind. Obviously, God and the angels supersede him. But for a period, he's allowed to perceive that he has the power and control. And because evil exists through free will, you must be able to choose. Free will must have options in order for you to truly have free will. If there was only good, that's not free will. That's not a choice. That's the only option. That's not free will. Free will is the ability to choose for yourself what to do and what not to do. And then God allows us to do that so then he can judge us based on our own choices. And I agree. Charlie choosing to go out there isn't an indicator of the fact that he had so much faith he was willing to die for it. He didn't have a death wish. He wasn't afraid of death because he knew his destination. He knew his ultimate reward in heaven, as do us all. I know with assurance that I will live in eternity with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. However, I love my life. I love my wife. I love my kids, and I love my family. And as far as I know, because I've never made it to the other side, this is such a beautiful place where we get to experience pain, loss, joy, laughter, love. You don't know what the amazing experiences are without having experienced some pain, loss, and grief. There must be two sides of the same coin to compare them to. Only here in this life can the most beautiful, amazing acts of kindness and love happen, but also some of the most tragic and evil. And we get to experience that while we're alive. And Charlie did not want to give that up. He also wanted to see his daughter grow up and graduate and get married. And he wanted to teach his son how to play sports. He probably wanted to grow old with Erika, sadly. Maybe until the end, because it's possible there's some information out there that they were on the road to a divorce. I haven't seen confirmation yet. But also the ability to see the fire in new believers' eyes and hearts when you preach the word to them, you share your testimony in the gospel, and they come to Christ and you see that change. There's nothing like that. It's such an amazing feeling because you can recall, you remember, unless you were like raised in the church, but you probably had moments where you rededicated your life as you became more consciously aware and it became your own decision instead of the parents' decision for you. But you remember that feeling when you like really realized that God of the universe made you, loves you, pursues you, and saved your life. Charlie would not want to lose any opportunity to experience that, to preach the gospel and to save people to Christ. Though his death maybe did bring people to the Lord, to salvation, he would have had so many more opportunities with his life to do that. Those at Turning Point and Rob McCoy and all these people say over and over again, if Charlie was given the choice to come back and not have all those people get saved or be told that his death would bring all these people to Christ, that they said that Charlie would choose not to come back. I think that's a total dishonest lie. Because I think Charlie could have still brought those same people and more to Christ through his life, not just his death. They would have you believe the only way Charlie could have saved all of these people, that the only way this revival could have happened was through Charlie's death. It's one of the most disgusting lies out there. All right, we're going to move on to, where are we? All right, let me see where we are in time. Let me get this off of here. This. Let me see if. Hold on. Yeah, I think. Let me look at the time actually, real quick. We are at 2 hours and 43 minutes. All right. I did want to play this for a second. I don't know at what point Trump says great things about Lindsey Graham, but I wanted to compare that if Donald Trump, who knew Lindsey Graham was a never Trumper and said some of the worst things about Trump in 2016 and 2020, and then he jumped on the bandwagon in 24 when he got elected, much like all of the others did, like Ted Cruz and so on and so forth, Mark Levin, that Trump saying positive remarks about Charlie after his death and at the memorial mean nothing if he can get up here and say these things about Lindsey Graham. Because for one, Lindsey Graham was a horrible warmonger, bloodthirsty megalomaniac.
The cabinet, members of the House and Senate, distinguished guests, Darlene, and the entire Graham family. Love you all. Today we gather in the deepest gratitude and profoundest sorrow to honor a beloved friend, a devoted brother, a respected statesman, a giant of the United States Senate, and a true American original who left us much too soon. And that can only be the one and only Lindsey Graham.
So gross.
By the strength of his steadfast convictions, the force of his magnetic personality, and the goodness of his noble soul, Lindsey rose from a small town in rural South Carolina,
Just can't
a place
make
he
it up.
loved so much, to become a constant fixture of American politics at the highest level, and a force to be reckoned with all over the world. For more than 30 years, nothing.
All right, that's enough. I agree. Total liar. All right. I am at that part of the show. Well, actually, let me see. I don't know how long this is. I did see this on Real America's Voice today, and I want to see what it is that they say here about Charlie. So let's give it a shot. Hold on. Let me.
Back, everybody. In just a minute, we should have Jonathan Swan.
What the heck? Hold on. That's weird. Did they pull this video? Did they pull this video while I'm playing it?
All right. Welcome back, everybody.
No?
In just
All
a
right.
minute, we should have Jonathan Swan from the New York Times, author of the new book, Regime Change. It's about President Trump's first year in the White House in his second term. So hopefully we get him logged on in just a second. Keeping a
All right,
lookout
let's
for
go
him.
right here. Why is the... I don't know why.
Story of inside the White House when the news broke of what happened to Charlie. And it's pretty excruciating. Candidly, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but if you have an anecdote, we'd love to hear it.
Well, yeah, it's hard to relive it. We have in the book what we try to describe in the book is the effect that Charlie's death had on the president of the United States and the people around him, his inner circle. And
keep in mind what Trump just said about Lindsey Graham, and that this is supposedly from interviews this total tool did with JD Vance and Trump. And remember, when JD Vance went to the Georgia event, when Erika backed out and Andrew Kolvet took her place, JD Vance didn't remember what day Charlie was murdered. He says that one day back in September. Andrew says September 10th. JD Vance says, oh, that's right. It was the day before September 11th. He remembers it as the day before September 11th. It is our generation's September 11th in the context that we all remember where we were that day when we got the news, when we found out. And that day was collective trauma for all of us. And it's like seared in our brain. Not for JD, who got the call directly from Mikey McCoy minutes after, who also got the call from either Frank or Rob or Brian Harple to make sure an autopsy happened that day, who got on Air Force Two and flew out, picked up Erika and the parents, flew Charlie's body in the casket into Arizona, spoke on the stage 11 days after. How could he not remember what day Charlie was murdered? And he's Charlie's friend. Trump, when asked about Charlie Kirk, either that day or the day after, says something brief and then changes the subject about the ballroom. Charlie Kirk spent the last weeks of his life defending Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Tucker Carlson, who are the three number one enemies of this administration, mainly Candace and Tucker, but Megan's in there from time to time, depending on where she's, whatever side of the fence she's sitting on that day. Trump and JD Vance are not saying genuinely positive things about Charlie after the fact. They are playing a part, much like Erika and Andrew Kolvet and everyone at TPUSA is playing a part. They're grifting, they're lying. They're not good people.
We have a scene in the book where the president learns about Charlie's death, and he actually learns about it from his son, Barron, who was a huge fan of Charlie's. And he phoned the president. He was very distressed, very distraught. And the president was trying to absorb this news, but also trying to comfort his son. And people who were in the West Wing that day describe it almost like it was...
Well, remember this. Along with Jack Posobiec, Brandon Tatum, and Benny Johnson, Don Jr. was asked by Erika to come to the prelim to witness the prelim and the evidence, the mountain of evidence that they shared, only to come out and go on his show and go on interviews telling us that it was 4K, high def, high quality footage on that Friday, but also that the rest of the evidence throughout the trial was so damning, so overwhelming that it put all the conspiracy theorists to bed. He's taking part in the cover-up, Don Jr. He's participating in prosecuting what we believe to be a somewhat partially innocent, if not all the way innocent, young man. This fake fraud journalist would have us all believe that he got behind the curtain access to the Trump administration and Don Jr., where they sat down together and reminisced of the great memories and fondness they have for Charlie Kirk as they were distraught. President Trump consoled Don Jr. Was that before or after he's engaged to Jeffy Eppies' banker's daughter? Is that before or after Ivanka and Jared Kushner swim off the Rothschild yacht? Remember, the Rothschilds are named in the Jeffy Eppie files, and Charlie was pointing that out. Much like JFK was coming in contact with this rich, powerful family who purchased the land for Israel post-World War II. They're not religious Jews. They're political Zionists. Go reference the Balfour Declaration. Go reference the founding of Israel. And also go know that the Rothschilds were trying to buy Uganda and Argentina. They didn't care if it was Israel. Just so happens that the United Kingdom, the British government wanted the money, and they just happened to be in possession of Palestine at the time. So, no, I don't believe that these people were genuinely distraught over Charlie's death and gave an honest interview for this book for this guy.
Just a zombie land in the sense that people were just in a state of shock. Charlie Kirk was considered a member of the family by many of these people. And we just described, again, I don't want to belabor it too much with you, but, we have an insight in the book into how they regathered themselves at that moment, got together. Of course, they still didn't know who had done this or any of the details.
All right. We get it. The Trump administration loved Charlie, supposedly. This is a montage put together by Benny Johnson, but I like it because it's Charlie Kirk. So let me make sure it's on the screen. We are to that part of the broadcast where we end every show with Charlie Kirk clips. Be sure to get in any super chats now while we play this so that before we end, I have the time to read them. All right.
That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
And
For those of you that have not given your life to Christ, I can tell you it is the most freeing, liberating thing that a human being can possibly do. The most important thing that you can do, which is to be born new into the kingdom of God. And there's a lot of there's a competition right now, and Satan is trying to tell people this doesn't matter. It isn't true. But there is a God who loves you. He loves you enough to give you an opportunity and a chance to be able to live forever in eternal communion with him. I mean, I've had an unbelievably blessed life. Been doing this now, it'll be 12 years on June 5th.
Such a young man to do it.
So young.
Yeah, so praise God. I mean, I've been all across the world. I've met with world leaders. I've flown in Air Force One, got to know a president.
He loved his
Hopefully
life.
he becomes president again. We get to, I have an amazing family, the podcast, Turning Point USA, all that stuff. And so you experience that and you're like, what actually matters? What matters is your relationship with the divine, your relationship with your family, your kids, and maybe a close collection of friends, and your relationship with the truth. Abraham, Jacob, Moses, Samuel, Isaiah, Ananias. The here I am is when legendary things happen in the Bible. 6 people that are some of the most important instruments for God's will here on earth. And I'm just going to close with this. That is my phrase going into 2024 I'm going to use. I hope it is for you as well. Because every single one of you need to say, God, I am willing. Use me. Use me for your purposes. Liberty is God's idea, not man's.
When we graduate from high school this coming June, we're handed a diploma. That's also an invoice for hundreds of thousands of dollars that my generation is going to have to pay off through interest, high taxes, and a stagnant economy. We here at SOS Liberty believe that if we do not change the conversation back to us, the kids that are going to have to inherit this debt, that our economy will be stagnant for years to come. And our website, we have really interesting things. We have videos, pictures trying to inspire the youth, sosliberty.com, that has a wide variety of youth from all across the country jumping onto our cause. Well, I'm having trouble finding a summer job, as is Mike, in a lot of different regards. A lot of kids are feeling the effects of what we like to call, with the Washington economy, with a lot of debt, plummeting small business, with higher regulation and high taxes. We're just trying to reinstitute the founding principles, free market, fiscal responsibility. SOS Liberty is a nonpartisan. We don't consider this a Republican versus Democrat issue, but rather a generational one.
I'm Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action. Together, the largest conservative grassroots organizations in the country. Thanks to our work, I talk to a lot of young people on campuses, at our events, on my radio show, podcast, and social media. Said differently, I visit college campuses so you don't have to.
I'm a little nervous with the score that they've played over this. I don't know if I'm going to get dinged for it. If it's copyright, like if it's proprietary to Benny Johnson's channel. And given that I attacked him so much in this show, or called him out, maybe not attacked, but called him out for a blatant, dishonest liar that he is, he's probably going to try to ding this video for me playing any of his stuff. So I'm a little nervous to keep playing it with that score that's thrown over it. Charlie was magnetic and charismatic enough on his own. Didn't need to put any score over it. It also was harder to hear the things that he was saying. You could still hear it, but it would have been so much better to just allow Charlie to be up there by himself without music over it, All right, ladies and gentlemen, we made it to the 3-hour mark. Thank you guys so much for everything. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe. Also, after the video posts, please head over to the video and write a comment. Hype the video for free. Those are the 3 best ways to help support this channel. And I love you guys. God bless you guys. I will see you guys here tomorrow. God bless. Bye.